quite strong. You know, they're strong in midfield. The centre-halves get on and do a job. They're even talking about, Woodsy coming back, which would be a plus for them. The last few games, they look like they could be okay. So, and Leeds don't deserve to be down there. What I've seen of them this season, they've worked their socks off, and there's been so many games that just haven't quite gone their way. But I think that crowd at Ellen Road, you know as well as anybody how intimidating that can be. So I think Leeds will probably get out of trouble as well. But so it really looks like it comes down to the two London clubs, which is very unfortunate. I certainly would love to see them both stay up.
With all of the talk of who could keep Tottenham in the Premier League this season, does former midfielder turned coach Gus Poyet back himself?
I can't say no, and I have to trust my ability. I got no doubt. But listen, I like when the clubs, they support the coach. I like it. What Simon said about in 2 years' time, we're going to win the league with these players. Yeah. Okay, pick the coach, go with the coach.
Poyet says Spurs need to go back to basics on the field. The situation surrounding Igor Tudor's future is a highly sensitive one following the death of his father. talkSPORT's Simon Jordan says the club shouldn't be afraid to sack him, but they do need to tread very carefully.
Whilst the timing is not ideal and the circumstances are not great, it was a decision that we were going to make anyway, and you can handle that, and you handle that properly by doing it from principle to principle.
To the west of the capital, where we're told not to expect any managerial changes anytime soon. talkSPORT understands Chelsea have no plans to sack Liam Rosenior, even if he fails to secure a Champions League place. Meanwhile, the Football Supporters Association has filed an official complaint with FIFA over what they call excessive ticket prices at the World Cup. They're asking for the dynamic pricing model to be dropped. In the meantime, would you pay 135 quid for a replica England shirt? Supporters Travel Club member Nick Jones has done. He says considering inflation, 90 quid for Nike's stadium version isn't unreasonable.
I don't think we should be surprised, but I do recognise there is a lot of money for some people, and that's why they're turning to the likes of, DH Gates and places overseas which are doing those knockoff versions.
Now, what does the future hold for Martin O'Neill? Ex-Scotland forward Mark McGee reckons there's a place for him at Celtic beyond the end of the season.
Maturity and that experience, that now whether it's director of football or whether it's in some sort of mentor role, above the manager and around the manager, I don't see why that can be a bad thing.
And the EFL have confirmed when this season's playoffs will take place, with the finals over the late May bank holiday weekend. Championship games on the last day of the regular season will kick off at 12:30. The final round of matches in Leagues 1 and 2 will start at 3 p.m. on Saturday, the 2nd of May. There's more at talksport.com.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Kickoff on talkSPORT. I'm Hugh Woozencroft alongside the former Chelsea and West Ham defender Scott Minto. Wonder what we should talk about tonight. Have you heard of this guy Mo Salah? Anyway, Mo Salah is going to be leaving Liverpool apparently at the end of the season now. Is he the club's greatest ever player? That's what I want to ask you this evening. And what legacy will he leave the Premier League if he leaves the Premier League at the end of the season? Where will he end up next? We'll get more on that. But if you've got a view on it, Liverpool fans, you want to let us know what Mo Salah means to you, then give us a call. 03717 223344. That will at least be our first hour, I think. We'll also head inside the England camp part 1, I'm calling it, as they prepare for their friendly with Uruguay Will the X Factor style audition process actually work for Thomas Tuchel? And also, Thomas Tuchel's brought back Ben White when he's given no explanation really for walking out on the three lions at a World Cup. Is that the right decision? We'll talk about the Premier League. We'll look ahead to the playoffs as well for the World Cup involving the home nations. But as ever, we want you to have your say. So give us a call, 03717 223344. You can watch us live on the talkSPORT YouTube channel as well. This is Kickoff. Big news hitting us this evening at talkSPORT. I know you heard about it, 15 or so minutes ago, but Mo Salah has announced that he will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. He's been absolutely incredible for the football club. He's won some really big trophies, and I'm sure Liverpool fans, he will be missed. Let us know what he has meant to you and what legacy he will leave at the football club. He has posted a video on his Instagram explaining his reasons why. Let's have a listen.
Hello everyone. Unfortunately, the day has come. This is the first part of my farewell. I will be leaving Liverpool at the end of this season. I wanted to start by saying that I never imagined how deeply this club, this city, these people would become part of my life. Liverpool is not just a football club. It's a passion. It's a history. It's a spirit I can't explain in a word to anyone not part of this club. We celebrated victory. We won the most important trophies, and we fought together through the hardest time in our life.
So Mo Salah letting people know. It's a very emotional video on Instagram showing some of his great moments in a Liverpool shirt, exactly why he'll be leaving the club and what the club means to him. He has been rather remarkable during his time with Liverpool. The number of goals, absolutely incredible. 255 in 435 games. He came in 2017 from Roma, and he has won 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League, the FIFA Club World Cup, UEFA Super Cup, FA Cup, 2 League Cups, and an FA Community Shield as well. Third in the Reds' all-time leading goal scorers chart. He's won the Premier League Golden Boot on 4 occasions and a host of personal accolades as well. He has been, Scott, firstly, aside from what he's meant to Liverpool, which I'm sure we're going to get into this hour, just an incredible Premier League legend.
Yeah, I actually think even first and foremost, he's been a great role model for the kids of the world, really, for him to come in the way he's held himself. I mean, you can argue at times, and, you know, I played with some very, very good players, and some were always extreme professionals, some threw the toys out of the pram a little bit, and we know that in the last 12 months, maybe he has done that once or twice, but I think in terms of the example he sets and how he played the game, how he came across, both on and off the pitch, you know, how he's lived his life, I think he's been a fantastic role model. In terms of the Premier League, yeah, he's not just... It's a really interesting question what the Liverpool fans will say. I mean, I would still go, maybe I'm a little bit biased for King Kenny as the number one. And I'd
Greatest ever Liverpool player.
Yeah.
Kenny first?
I probably would. I'd also put Steven Gerrard up there, and I know that you're not so sure about that one, but, you know, even to be... You know, that club, when you think about how good it's been over the last 50, 60 years and the trophies it's won, you know, to say that, you could be the best or even in the top 3 shows that you've not just been a world-class talent, but you've actually been generational. I think in the Premier League, we've loved watching him. It's a shame he didn't do it for Chelsea, to be honest with you, but he had to go away to come back and be the world-class talent that he's been. But those numbers that you said, you know, not just the individual. I mean, it's one thing to score goals and it's one thing to be a fantastic individual, but to help his team win the trophies that they've won in the time that he's been there shows that actually, as selfish as he is and goal scorers are, he is and has been still a very much a team player. And there's been some world-class players in his team, but it's almost always him that's been the number one.
If you're going to talk about the reawakening of Liverpool as a football club, I think there are 2 figures who have just been monumental in making that happen. I know it's been a team effort from top to bottom at Liverpool. We know how long they waited for a Premier League title. We know they're a club that always picked up trophies on the way, but Liverpool is back. I think football fans know what I mean when I stress it. You know, they were always Liverpool, they were always capable, but the real Liverpool, the one that's capable of going and winning all the biggest trophies, came back to English football because of Jurgen Klopp and because of Mo Salah.
Yeah, and I would actually put Jurgen Klopp first, even before Mo Salah, because as good as he's been, I always say that managers are more important than ever, but it's ultimately down to the players. But to win those type of trophies that you've just mentioned, you need more than one just world-class player. So for what Jurgen Klopp did coming in at a time where Liverpool were quite low, they looked far away from the team that they were just a few years later. And even when they weren't winning trophies in the first couple of years, people could see, Liverpool fans could see what Jurgen Klopp was doing and the charisma that he had, the football that he played, which I think now, despite Arne Slot winning the title last season, is almost massively going against it. We sort of said at the time in Jurgen Klopp's last season, I pity the guy that follows Jurgen Klopp, almost in the way that Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson. I think Arne Slot did brilliant last season, but now we're seeing that kind of fallout. If one of you not winning games, the style's not the same. But for him to get the very best out of all the players, including Mo Salah, to find that way, that front three of Sane, Salah, and then Firmino as a false nine, it just worked. And yeah, what a player. My only question would be, why now? Why now?
Very interesting Liverpool statement. I mentioned, and I read a little bit of Liverpool's statement in terms of how great a player he's been for the football club. Basically, they say he's going to leave. The next paragraph, they say he's reached an agreement that will see him close a remarkable 9-year chapter. Third paragraph, before they get to all of Salah's achievements at Liverpool, Salah expressed his wish to make this announcement to the supporters at the earliest possible opportunity to provide transparency about his future due to his respect and gratitude for them, which essentially for me points to the fact that Liverpool didn't want it to come out at this stage because they've immediately passed over responsibility to Mo Salah. The reason we're telling you now is because of him, not us, which is very, very interesting because for me, if Salah desperately wanted to do it now, why? I'm totally on board with what you're saying. Why now? And I can only come to the conclusion that there's probably a little bit of pressure now on Arne Slot to include Mo Salah more often in the running because he's a Liverpool legend who's going to be saying goodbye to the fans on a weekly basis, essentially.
Well, unless you've got a season ticket, and you can go on even a semi-regular basis, it could be the last time you ever see Mo Salah in a Liverpool shirt. So there was already pressure on Arne Slot to play him. It's almost easier, despite him not doing so well, with what happened earlier in the season and before Christmas. Now there's going to be even more pressure to play him. I don't know. And maybe it will come out. Maybe we'll find that, he actually has agreed for a club and he didn't want it from the other club side that he's going to be signing for, that it's come from them or it's somehow leaked out. I just find it strange right now. It's a strange timing, and he's still got a year left in his contract, so he could have waited to the end of the season. We know what happened last season, so there was speculation there. Maybe he didn't want to go all over that again, but there wouldn't have been as much speculation because he had that 1 year left on his contract. So, yeah, just surprised with the timing.
We're going to be talking more about the legacy as a person and as a footballer of Mo Salah in England, in European football, in world football. If you've got a view on it, give us a call, 03717 223344. Coming up shortly, we're going to get the team news ahead of Arsenal and Chelsea in the Women's Champions League semi-final, and we'll get the odds from Ladbrokes too. But get your calls in, we'll get them lined up, and we will get to you soon enough, Liverpool fans. I really want to know, is Mo Salah the greatest player in Liverpool history? That's what I'm most intrigued about. I think, for me, it might be a yes.
For the youngsters, maybe. Let's see about the ones who are my age.
We'll find out. You're listening to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18+, gambleaware.org. Liverpool fans, give us a call, 03717 223344.
Hello, Barry. Good morning.
Okay?
Yeah. Go for it, Baz.
I just want to say, every Monday mid-morning, we have to listen to Martin going on and on and on. It just becomes too much, and it's making me want Man City to win because he's just moaning all the time.
Don't put it on me, fella. Don't put it on me, Barry. So all those times when we denied you winning those 3 Premier Leagues back in the day with Ferguson, was that got something to do with it? Yeah, the fact that Man United players, the former players, have all got it against Arsenal. You Man United fans. If you could pick a team without me involved, don't involve me. Just say which is the team you despise the most in the Premier League. Come on, who is it?
We saw what a coward you were when
it's got that big now.
When you were managing,
it's got that big now that you even want your local rivals to win ahead of us. Well done to you. Well done. Look what happened to our local rivals.
To be honest, our main rivals.
Spurs. Start having your own things to go after as a football club. Don't just bash us. When was the day? When was the day Man United wanted to be champions? Will we see that again soon?
What's your results? Yeah, you will see that again, Mark.
Well, because you've got 1 game a week at the moment, haven't you? It's easy for you, isn't it?
Barry, the floor is yours. Finish your call off for me. On you go.
Hey, what score were Man U Arsenal last time we met?
Well, the thing is, let's just put it this way. So we've played 50 games. You're going to play 40 games maximum this season, yeah? Because that's at the moment. What have you? You've got 7 games. You play 33 matches. So you're fresh. When you beat us, you're fresh. You beat Man City as well.
Trophies lately, Man United or Arsenal.
You're listening to Kick-Off on talkSPORT with Hugh, Woozencroft and Chelsea FA Cup winner Scott Minto. In a moment, we will discuss Mo Salah a little bit. The breaking news this evening, he will be leaving Liverpool on a free transfer at the end of the season. If you want to talk to us about his legacy, give us a call, 03717 223344. Is he the greatest player in Liverpool's history? But first, a massive London derby tonight in the semi-final first leg of the Women's Champions League. Arsenal host Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium, and talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams has the teams. Good evening.
Good evening. History is being made tonight. The first time 2 sides from the same city have met in a Women's Champions League knockout phase match. This quarter-final sees Arsenal having their joint record 17th match at this stage. Chelsea have won all their last 6 quarter-finals that they have played. One of those records is going to have to go at some point. The team news: Arsenal make 3 changes from their weekend thrashing of West Ham. In come Fox, McCabe and Mead. Borbers in goal. Fox, Wubben-Moy, Cardona and McCabe across the back. Mead, Little and Caldente is 3 in midfield. Russo, Blackstenius, who got the winning goal in the final against Barcelona last year of this competition, and Chloe Kelly up front. Chelsea are ravaged by injury and players who haven't been able to get back from the Asia Cup at the weekend, namely Sam Kerr and Ellie Carpenter. So they make 5 changes from their weekend draw at London Lions. In come Germer, Bronze, Walsh, Baltimore and James. Hampton's in goal. Germer, Buchanan and Berman across the back. Bronze, Cuthbert, Walsh, Newskin and Baltimore a 5 across midfield, with Thompson playing in just behind the returning Lauren James up front. There should be a good crowd here tonight. It starts at 8 o'clock here at the Emirates for Arsenal against Chelsea.
Thank you very much, Ian. OK, let's get an odds update next with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
And I'm delighted to say Nicola McGeady joins us now from Ladbrokes. Good evening. Big week of playoffs. Everyone trying to nail a place at the World Cup for this summer. Let's go through some of the matches, starting with the Republic of Ireland, who'll be facing the Czech Republic away. So what do you think?
Guys. Look, I'm so nervous just talking about this. This is the semi-final that determines obviously who advances to a final against either Denmark or North Macedonia for a spot at the World Cup. And Ireland, of course, entered the match in the best form that they've been in years. They're riding on a 3-match winning streak with wins over Armenia, Portugal, Hungary. So I think the stressful thing for us now is that we know that the Czechs are just formidable at home. They've remained unbeaten in their last 16 matches on Czech soil, 13 wins, 3 draws. So, it's going to be very tough. They've kept 4 clean sheets as well in their last 5 home outings. So they are favourites. They're 10-11 in 90 minutes. But, there's been a lot of momentum for Ireland. We're already beginning to see their price tighten up, where they're priced now at 14-5. The draw's 12-5. But I'm going to be patriotic, obviously. 6-4 to qualify. I'll have a little bit of that. Czech Republic, though, they are 10-21. But the main man that everyone's going to be talking about is, of course, Troy Parrott. Look, he got that hat-trick against Hungary. I still remember it. He's 11-2 to be the first goal scorer, 23-10 to score any time, and 100-1 if he can repeat his Budapest exploits and get that hat-trick.
Nick, my first question. How are the kids?
They could burst in at any moment, Scott. So we could probably keep this tight.
Put a lock on the door. I've been there. I know about that. Let's talk about Italy, Northern Ireland. Now, all the pressure is on Italy, but obviously it's still it's a massive task for Northern Ireland. Without, you could argue, 2 of their best players, Conor Bradley and Dan Ballard as well. But what are we thinking there?
Yeah, look, it's an extremely tough task for them facing Italy on Thursday. A task I think none of the, home nations would have wanted. Michael O'Neill's men, they're 9-1 to cause an upset. Italy, they're 1-4, so big favourites. The draw is 9-2. Italy, they finished a clear second in their group. They only lost to Norway. They scored plenty of goals in the process. Whereas Northern Ireland games, on the other hand, they were really goal shy, with only 2 of their last 6 games going to over 2.5 goals. So over 2.5 goals on Thursday is 8-11. The unders is 11-10. And as you mentioned, a major blow with those injuries. Conor Bradley as well, a massive blow for them. But look, an Italy win to 0 looks on the cards betting wise at 4-5. But hopefully I'm wrong and we see a big upset.
Wales taking on Bosnia-Herzegovina, massive for them. They've got the home tie, it could be incredibly important during the next 2 games. Does that make them favourites?
Yeah, look, it's good news for Wales. They come into this semi-final 10-11 favourites, largely, I think, thanks to their excellent home form. Bosnia are 3-1, but, they've got, a fine away record as well. They've gone unbeaten away from home in qualification now, and the draw here is 5-2. And Bosnia, they've scored 11 in, I think it was 11 successive matches. And Wales, they've been scoring plenty as well at home, but they've struggled for clean sheets. So both teams to score 19-20 and over 2.5 goals is in there at 11-10. And Harry Wilson will be a key player for Wales. He's in peak form at the minute. He's enjoying a superb season with Fulham. He's already, been involved in 16 goals to his name with 10 goals, 6 assists. So he's going to be popular. He scored a hat-trick in the last Wales match as well. He's 4-1 to score first.
Nicola, thank you very much indeed. That was a look at the latest odds with Ladbrokes. It's 18+, gambleaware.org.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
So, Mo Salah to leave Liverpool at the end of the season. It's incredible, his record. 255 goals, 122 assists in 435 games. So 377 goal involvements in 435 games. Absolutely incredible. And that's why they call him the Egyptian King. So Liverpool fans, what are you feeling about his legacy at the club? 03717 223344. And is he the greatest player in your club's history? James is a Liverpool fan, the first to call us this evening. Good evening.
Right, lads.
How are you feeling?
Hi, James.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think, he'll go down as one of Liverpool's greatest ever players. Do I think he's Liverpool's greatest ever player? I mean, it kind of depends your age. And for me, I personally don't think he is. I'm 25. I mean, it also depends on what you base it off. I mean, do you base it off longevity? Do you base it off, just on the one season? I mean, for me, Luis Suarez was absolutely unbelievable for us, that 13-14 season. I think that one season for me trumps any season that Salah's had personally. But obviously, take nothing away from Mo Salah. He is definitely within the conversation of being one of Liverpool's greatest ever players. But for me, I don't think he is. He's definitely top 3, top 5 maybe. And it's going to be difficult to replace him. This season he hasn't been quite on it.
Is it sad that he's ended with a season like this?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the few things that Arne Slot has got right this season is how he has handled the Mo Salah situation. I think how Salah came out in December. Was it after the Brighton game? I can't really remember.
Leeds, I think.
When he was it Leeds? When he was dropped 3 games on the bounce, weren't he? And he came out and he spat his dummy out of it. No matter how much of a legend you are, you're not bigger than the club. And I think Slot made the right decision then to drop him. But again, take nothing away from Mo Salah. He's world class, and having someone like that in the changing room is going to be a big miss for the boys.
James, thank you very much for your call, getting us started this evening on talkSPORT. Let's very quickly head to Deo, if I've pronounced that correctly. Liverpool fan, what's your view?
Okay, first of all, I want to apologise if there's a lot of echo around. And James was on earlier saying things about Suarez is higher than Salah. And I just feel like it's an absolute shame that anyone that supports Liverpool will actually come out and say that. Because first of all, how long was Salah doing this for? Salah was doing this for 8 years. 8 years consistently, banging in about double digits on goals, double digits on assists in some seasons. And Suarez was just there for 4 years. Yes, I believe that the manager has got a huge effect on why Salah is not performing the way he's performing. Sure, he's not banging in the numbers that he's used to banging in. That's true. That's up for debate. But does the manager have an effect on why the team is not performing as good as they should? 100%. I believe so.
Hold on. This is your moment to say how much you love Mo Salah. And it sounds like you're angry at Arne Slot.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone's angry at Arne Slot, man. If you support Liverpool, you're obviously angry at Arne Slot. There's no way you're not going to be angry at Arne Slot. But I understand you guys are talking about Salah at the moment, and I love Salah. I believe he's one of the best Liverpool players in the modern history. Like recently, he's one of the best players we've ever had. Yeah, you can make a conversation about Mane, you can make a conversation about Coutinho, Suarez, Firmino, whatever. But Salah trumps all of them, except you're going back to Gerrard. And Gerrard is obviously more of an icon because Gerrard is the proper Liverpool born and bred player. But Salah is up there. He's up there in the top 3. But obviously, emotions are involved, and I don't believe that Slot is managing the players as well as he should. I don't believe he's doing the job he should.
Deo, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to keep it to praise for Mo Salah this evening, all right? We'll leave the Arne Slot stuff to when Liverpool play next, all right?
You could argue if it wasn't Mo Salah, with that type of form he's had this season, it'd have been dropped a lot more.
Well, you can also argue Arne Slot wouldn't have a Premier League title if it wasn't for the incredible form of Mo Salah last season. I can't remember how many goals he got in the end. 34 goals, 23 assists.
Yeah, first half of the season he was absolutely sensational. I mean, right up there, which makes it strange that the drop-off has been sort of so much because we weren't expecting that. We're saying you've got to sign Mo Salah with how he was at the start of last season.
All good things come to an end.
They do. So do you think he has fallen off a cliff in a way then?
I think what he's done for that football club deserves respect. And tonight, that's what I'm going to be talking about.
Well, they're not disrespecting him.
All of the
positives, aren't they?
All of the positives that Mo Salah's brought to English football, we will be revelling in this evening. So if you want to get involved in it, give us a call. 03717 at 223344. I mean, all right, we can talk about Slot if you really want to. But do get involved in the conversation. You're listening to talkSPORT.
Lads, sit down.
Here we go.
Just listen up, all right? Listen up. We've got 7 games left. Every single game's a cup final. Forget the noise. Forget what's happened. Just go out there, put your heart on your sleeve, and go and make something happen. Forget everything that's happened throughout the season. Forget what's happened, all right, on and off the pitch. Now is the moment. A 7-game season. Every blade of grass, every single pass, every header, every tackle matters. Every piece of running on that pitch will get us across the line. And it only will happen if you all stick together and make it happen. I can't do it. I can't be on the pitch. All I can do is set you up to go out there and make it happen for yourselves. Stick together through thick and thin. We hunt together. We fight together. We press together. We tackle together. We get back together. And we will get this done. And at the end of the season, you can all come and see me and knock on my door. And if you want to leave, you can leave. But right now, we are one. We are the team that is going to stay in this Premier League. Forget West Ham. Forget Nottingham Forest. Forget Leeds. It's about Spurs. And we are Spurs. And to dare is to do. Now come on, let's get 3 points.
That's quite good. I've got goosebumps. I've got goosebumps.
Here are some of the best sledges in Ashes history. Let's start in 1933, Douglas Jardine versus Yabba. Jardine, the notorious captain of the Bodyline series. Yabba, some bloke in the stands who became so famous he now has a statue at the SCG. When Jardine was swatting away flies on the boundary one day, Yabba yelled, "Oi, Jardine, leave our flies alone. They're the only friends you've got." Next, Warne versus Strauss in the Edgbaston Cauldron 2005. Strauss shouted, "Come on boys, he's struggling here," when Warne misjudged the delivery by Ashley Giles. Warne then told Strauss, "Say one more thing to me and I'll hit the next ball for 6. Strauss obliged and Warne walloped an enormous 6 over square leg. Night-night, Straussy. Bowler Jimmy Ormond dealt a stinger to Mark Waugh, brother of Steve, in 2001 when the Aussie all-rounder told him he was nowhere near good enough to play for his country. Ormond replied, "At least I'm the best cricketer in my family." Tough. Wicketkeeper Ian Healy issued one of the great lines after Steve Waugh told Ricky Ponting to field right under the nose of Nasser Hussain. Healy remarked, "That could be anywhere within a 3-mile radius."
You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT. I'm Hugh Woozencroft alongside Chelsea FA Cup winner Scott Minto this evening reacting to the news that Mo Salah will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season after an incredible impact at the club. Trophy. He's won the PFA Players Player of the Year 3 occasions, more than anyone else. Made history when he did that last year as well. He's 4th all-time for Premier League goal scorers. For the club, all in all, 255 goals, 122 assists in 435 games. Absolutely incredible impact Mo Salah has had at the club. What's your reaction to him leaving? We're going to get some news about why this is happening right now and where he might end up from our football correspondent, Alex Crook, who joins us live now. Good evening.
Good evening, boys. You good?
Is he on a sangria at the moment? Or?
Well, you're away, are you? We can. I think we can tell by the kind of lobsterish pink on your face.
It's been a long day in the sun here in Portugal. I've got to say, I wasn't necessarily expecting to join you boys tonight, but the breaking news never stops, does it, on talkSPORT?
Do you know what? He's either in Portugal for the sun or Turkey for his teeth. His teeth are looking very white there, aren't they?
They are. Yeah. Well, he might be getting everything done. Come back a new man looking like Tom Cruise at the end of this. Listen, we got to talk about Mo Salah, obviously, and he has had a remarkable impact. But I think both Scott and I immediately went, why now? Like, why not wait until closer towards the end of the season? We saw the same kind of saga, didn't we, with Trent Alexander-Arnold not too long ago? That was only a couple of weeks before the end of the season. His departure was announced. So why so soon?
Yeah, we might have another one as well when it comes to Liverpool, because Ibrahima Konate is out of contract to the end of the season. There's a lot of noise reaching me this afternoon about Real Madrid and whether he will stay at Anfield or look for pastures new. So it does feel like a change in the guard at Anfield. Am I surprised that Mo Salah is leaving at the end of the season? No, is the answer to that question, because I always felt it was quite an uneasy truce between him and Arne Slot after that fallout towards the back end of last year when he was dropped from the starting 11. Obviously made that bombshell revelation to reporters that there was no relationship between him and manager. The timing is interesting. Obviously, it's an international break, so maybe Salah has just decided now is the right time to make that announcement. And it was interesting, I think, that he made the reveal before Liverpool later confirmed it officially on their club media channels. I don't think, as we stand here now, Mo Salah knows exactly what he's going to be doing next season. In fact, his agent has tweeted to that effect. We don't know where Mo will play next year. This also means no one else knows. I'm told the MLS is a possibility. San Diego have been mentioned to me in the last few minutes, but obviously we know there's long-standing interest from the Saudi Pro League as well. I think the political situation in the Middle East might cloud that. I think if we were sat here in January, I would have said definitely Mo Salah will end up in Saudi Arabia, but I don't think that's potentially as nailed on as it was. What we can say is that this is the end of probably the greatest career that any Liverpool player has had in the Premier League. Now, I know Steven Gerrard might hold claim to that as well, but when you look at what he's won, the records that he's broken, I think Mo Salah is Liverpool's greatest player in the Premier League era. And in a way, it's unfortunate that it's ending like this, because had he have gone out last season in a blaze of glory, having won the Premier League, won the PFA Player of the Year award, as you say, I think that would have been a better ending than going out with 5 Premier League goals to his name this season, a row with a manager halfway through the campaign as well. But you don't always get the perfect ending in football, do you?
Absolutely not. And you mentioned the row with the manager. A lot of Liverpool fans were thinking here that they might make some money on Mo Salah. We mentioned the kind of destinations for him in the summer. Reports suggest that he's leaving on a free transfer at the end of the season. Now, he signed a 2-year extension at the beginning of last year, taking him to the middle of 2027. So has the fallout led to a change in his contract situation?
Well, that was a £20 million a year there or thereabouts deal as well, which for Liverpool was a change of strategy when it came to a player of Mo Salah's age. What I'm told is that he's amended that contract. So effectively, he's walking away from the final year of that very lucrative deal for nothing. So they've not paid him up. He goes as a free agent. On Liverpool's side, they waive any transfer fee. And on Mo Salah's side, he waives £400,000 a week in wages. So I think that tells you probably where the relationship between player and manager and club was at. But also, I think it's just a recognition of the fact that Mo Salah's performance levels have dipped this season. He scored 5 Premier League goals, as I've already mentioned. He's not been the force he once was. I think when Alexander Isak is fully fit and Hugo Ekitike, I think, has had a really good season. He's probably third in line in terms of leading that attack for Liverpool, which you wouldn't have said again at the end of last season. So I think it is mutual on that respect. He wants to go. Liverpool, I think, are quite happy to get that lucrative contract off the wage bill. And he's going to get a grand farewell now, isn't he, from Liverpool fans. They're not going to win the Premier League. Obviously, they're out of the Champions League, but they are still in the FA Cup. They have a really difficult quarter-final in that competition, and they can still at least salvage Champions League football. So I guess what Liverpool are hoping from this announcement a long way before the end of the season is that Mo Salah can get back to somewhere near his best form and can at least get them in the Champions League and maybe deliver one final trophy.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure, isn't there, on Arne Slot to make sure that he plays as many games from now to the end of the season as possible. And again, I kind of think still why, especially even if a club's not been sorted, even more so, it's not as if there's going to be leaked documents of a signed contract, which I find strange. I think you put it in a really good way, Crookie, because I think Steven Gerrard is Liverpool's best player in the Premier League era. But I think for the greatest achiever, I think you can't argue that it's Mo Salah. What do you think Arne Slot would be thinking here? Do you think he will actually be quite happy in terms of trying to take the pressure off him, or Will there be even more pressure on him to play, and then we'll have to wait and see where he finishes at the end of the season and if he's still in the job at Liverpool next season?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big story once we come to the summer. From what I'm told, the Liverpool hierarchy is still behind Arne Slot. They realise that there's been a lot of mitigating factors in why Liverpool have had such a drop-off this season, not least the tragic passing of Diogo Jota. And I think it's almost impossible to talk about Liverpool's season and the fact they've surrendered the Premier League title on the face of it quite meekly without factoring in what happened in the summer. Arne Slot, speaking to our own Dec McCarthy after defeat of Brighton at the weekend, referenced Alexander Isak's injury problems. He referenced the fact that Mo Salah, the top scorer from last season, was unavailable due to injury, and the fact Ekitike went off after 3 minutes. Florian Wirtz, I think, has had a semi-decent season, but again, with the outlay they've made, Liverpool, you maybe would have expected more. I've been really disappointed with Milos Kerkez, having seen a lot of him at Bournemouth, with the fact he's not so far been able to step up to the plate. So I think they want to back Arne Slot. The issue he's got is there's a big cloud hanging over Anfield in the form of Xabi Alonso. I think would have been certainly amongst their top targets had he not have been already destined to go to Real Madrid when Slot was appointed. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with the manager. In some ways, the Salah farewell might take a little bit of the spotlight away from Arne Slot, and I'm sure that Salah will be determined to end the season on a high. More information reaching us all the time in this developing story, by the way. Just had a message from Ben Jacobs, who's obviously very close to Saudi Arabia. He confirms what we've been saying. No definitive club lined up at this stage, but Saudi is an option. And that termination talks between Mo Salah and Liverpool began even before the African Cup of Nations. And I always felt that. I think I said it to you, Scott, at the time. This was always a sort of uneasy truce between Mo Salah and Arne Slot. Didn't really see there was any way that he could come fully back and repair that relationship because he was so damning of his manager in that interview he gave after the game at Leeds when he was left on the bench.
It's going to be a strange end. Arne Slot's next press conference when he comes out saying how fantastic it's been to work with Mo Salah. Alex Crook, we'll let you get back to
it. It has been here. I mean, let's not take away what they achieved together last season. Liverpool would not have won the league without Mo Salah. There's no question about that. I don't think any of us had them down as title contenders when Arne Slot came in, and Mo Salah just found a way to take his game to a new level. Unfortunately for him and for Liverpool, he's not been able to maintain it this season, but it doesn't tarnish it, does it? Had he have left in January after a row with the manager, I think in some Liverpool fans' eyes, it may have tarnished his legacy, at least this way. The fact he's announced it himself a few minutes before the club officially make the announcement, he seemed to be leaving through the front door as opposed to the back door.
Okay, Alex Crook, thank you very much indeed. We'll let you get back to your pina colada. Appreciate Absolutely. It. Our chief football correspondent there, taking time out from his time, on his own, Portugal, enjoying the sunshine.
He never stopped. You see the villa he was in there as well.
Well, it was a full suite, wasn't it? I mean, it was a penthouse, I thought.
I think it's his sister-in-law's.
Oh, is it? Yeah, well, lovely house.
Very nice.
Yeah.
He's there more than she is, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I bet he is.
10 times a year, I think.
You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes, by the way. It's 18+, gambleaware.org. We will continue to discuss the situation at Liverpool, which we're moving more and more into now, but also the legacy of Mo Salah. Liverpool fans, those of you that didn't want to see Mo Salah leave the football club, are you pointing the finger at Arne Slot? Maybe like Deo did a little bit earlier on. Maybe I shouldn't have stopped him in his tracks. Give us a call, 03717 223344. This is talkSPORT.
When you take a step back and you look, what are you seeing at Chelsea?
Well, I think it's it's completely different to what was Chelsea a few years back. I think a few years back, even the coach knew if you don't win the league or if you don't win a big trophy, you're out.
Simple as.
Abramovich, simple. I mean, Mourinho won a couple. The year they didn't win it, man, Ancelotti, similar. Conte, similar. Mourinho go back, similar. It was quite clear. Now it's a little bit different because the top is doing different things, in a different way. What I don't like, coach point of view, is when there is too many rumors about the coach. For example, Maresca, no? It was the big rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, about the change in the place at a certain time that he's been told.
Because he was the one that was leaking it to his mates in the press.
Okay? Now, what that helped to the new coach? And I'd say to you, Dom, you make a change after 60 minutes and people is going to say that you change it because you've been told to change it. You don't have a chance to win it. You are not making the decision because it's been out already. So for Liam, it's been a situation which is impossible to win. Whatever he does, is going to be people talking because of the rumors of Maresca. So you are already in the beginning in a position which is difficult. And then, the ones that we like to speak, because Liam likes to speak a lot, then people start taking everything you say against you, especially if you don't win. If it was
Analyze it.
Analyze it to the last bit.
Competition has landed and it's a big one. talkSPORT giving you the chance to win 20 grand completely tax-free. £20,000 could be yours, so don't miss your chance to win a life-changing amount of money. Listen up for how to enter. Text WIN to 83338. That's 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or you can call us on 0343 418 7260. Lines closed 9th of April at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. It's 18 plus for UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full terms and conditions can be found at talksport.com. And remember, 83338. Just text the word WIN now. Right, let's talk about Mo Salah and his impact on Liverpool. The legend will be leaving at the end of the season, the man known as the Egyptian King. Liverpool fans, what are your thoughts on it? 03717 223344. Let's go to Luke. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, lads. Thank you for having me on.
Hi, Luke. No, thanks for giving us a call. How are you feeling about Salah leaving?
Yeah, obviously, I'm absolutely gutted. I was actually, when I got the news, I was sat with two of my best mates who are United fans, and they turned to me and go, "We've seen the news, Salah's going." I was like, just looked at them like, "You're joking." And they were absolutely buzzing. I bet they can't wait to see the back of him after he scored a hat-trick against them, beating them 7-0, 5. He's been absolutely amazing, and I'm gutted. But to have a caller come on and, put Arne Slot as the blame, I think it's a joke, to be honest with you, because, as a season ticket holder, I'm going week in, week out. You can see Salah's legs are going, and I love him. I absolutely love him. But there comes a time, doesn't there? And it just shows how much he loves us as fans as well, because he's put himself and the fans first before the club as well. He's not even trying to get a transfer fee. He's ruined that now, hasn't he? And that's why he'll be going for free at the end of the year. So for him to come out and want to tell us, and want to tell us first, just shows how much he loves us. And I'm gutted, but thank you for everything he's done for us. You know what I mean?
Do you want to see him? I know it sounds weird. You can't guarantee a player in a starting position at a football club as big as Liverpool, but I'm sure you don't want to see the rest of the season him be used predominantly as a substitute. Do you think Arne Slot will prioritise his game time in front of the Liverpool fans?
To be honest with you, the Prem's done. We're just going for top 5, aren't we? And Salah's been playing week in, week out. And, even if he's done a bad game, he's still playing. So I don't think that's a viable thing to be saying anyway, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, I personally think he's doing it for a Champions League run. You know, I know everyone will write us off, we've got PSG, but I'm a believer, and my dad's always said to me, if you don't believe, then what's the point in going? And that's us as Liverpool fans at the end of the day. We will believe, and, you know, people call me, you know, deluded and all this, but I've seen my team pull off some pretty big results. And now that we've got the news that Salah's going, is that going to get Anfield going even more?
Do you know, just when you were saying that, I think you're absolutely right, Luke. I think this will add an extra 5-10% to Anfield against Paris Saint-Germain next round of the Champions League. It could be enough to get you over the line if you need it, because we know Anfield can produce magical results and magical evenings in that competition. Who knows? That little bit extra might be what they need to get them over the line. Anyway, thank you for your call, Luke. Let's go to Ed, who's a Liverpool fan. Of course he's a Liverpool fan, giving us a call on talkSPORT. How are you feeling about Mo Salah leaving?
Honestly, I'm not surprised, but it's gutting that, you know, a club legend's on his way out the door. It seems to be, you know, one every year since we won the Champions League. It is gutting, but, you know, like other people have said, it's clear to see that his legs are going.
What's his legacy? What's his legacy at the football club, do you think?
I think his legacy is fantastic. He's left such a mark on so many fans, players, everybody that's played with him, against him, have all sort of marvelled at what he's given us as a club. For the length of time he has as well, producing the way he has in the hardest league in the world is something that, you know, not many people have done before. You know, producing 20-plus goals a season, the number of PFA Player of the Year awards he's won, things like that on the individual basis, and as well delivering us 2 Premier Leagues, Champions League, you know, things like that. It's just something to behold.
Okay, Ed, thank you for your call. Let's quickly move on to Jay, who's a Liverpool fan. Good evening, Jay. How are you feeling?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm not too disappointed. I absolutely love Salah, but you could see his legs are gone, and it's time to go. And I'm glad he's done it the way he has, i.e. not like Trent, because you saw the stick that Trent got. And your question about why now, I think that's part of the reason. He saw the stick that Trent got, so it's better to come out now, announce it, be transparent. And I think, you know, all your callers have said it. You know, it's great that we now know. We're not going to wait till the end of the season and be thinking, oh, what the hell's going on with Salah? What the hell's going on with Salah? I've got quite a few points. I'm going to rattle through these quite quickly. In terms of like whether he's a legend or not, I think he is, because it's not all about just winning trophies. Obviously, that's important, but it's often what state you go into the club in and how far you then take it. And that's why I always say Klopp is a better manager than Pep, because Pep came in, took over a successful club and just delivered more success. Klopp came into an god-awful Liverpool team. We couldn't even get top 4 in those days. And he took them all the way to Premier League winners. And Salah was obviously part of that journey with Klopp as well as other players. So it's where you pick up from and then take them to. And Salah did that in a way that Gerrard couldn't. Gerrard could never take us to a Premier League title. Salah did. You talk about King Kenny as well, but he, again, like Pep, he went into a successful team that was already winning trophies. You know, he played in the 80s. Liverpool were a great team in the 70s. So he went into a successful team. But what Salah and Klopp did was they took it to the next level. And that's always the hardest thing to do. And remember, he's the 4th highest scorer in the Premier League as a right winger, and a right winger who often tracks back. And defending, and the 3 players above him, Rooney, Shearer, Kane, they were goal hangers. Rooney maybe did a little bit of tracking back. Had Salah goal hung and played up front, he'd be the Premier League's all-time highest scorer right now. And remember, he also had 3 seasons in Italy. Sure, Kane's had a couple of seasons outside of England now as well. But, you know, when you compare all of these factors, or to take all these factors into account, he's not just Liverpool's greatest player, he's arguably the Premier League's greatest ever player as well.
I think you make in fact, if ever I'm in trouble, I want you as my lawyer, Jay, to be honest with you.
I work in law. I work in law.
There you go. There you go. I'll get your number afterwards. Look, I don't agree with everything that you've said, but you make a really good point about when you join a club and where you leave it. Obviously, it's not just him. There's a lot of other players there as well. I mean, just what Luke was saying earlier when he heard the news. I mean, almost a bit like a JFK moment for a lot of Liverpool fans, isn't it? I know where I was when I heard that Mo Salah was definitely leaving. And look, I don't want to be negative about it, because I think he He's up there with one of the greatest ever Premier League players and greatest players of English football. I think football did start before the Premier League, and I'd still would put him there. I actually would chuck in Ian Rush to be just as good, and he did press. Your view and your memories of Salah in those early years are a little bit different to me, because I felt that he, Mane was pressing, Firmino was pressing, but he was the one who was quite allowed not to track back all the time. So we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
You need to watch the games. You need to watch the games.
I'm watching.
Mourinho did as well.
That's
why that Liverpool team was so great, because all three of them would track back. Probably Mane and Firmino even more so. That's true. But Salah did more than his fair share of track. Certainly more than Rooney, Kane, and Shearer, who are the only players above him in the sort of all-time scorers list. And also, don't forget his assists. Often we're told he's greedy. You look at his assist stats; they're insane. They're absolutely insane, his assist stats. The reason he doesn't get the recognition is he's an African player. And African players just generally don't get the recognition that their European counterparts do.
We're going to come to that in the next hour, whether he's the greatest African player in Premier League history, his cultural impact as well as a Muslim footballing icon, someone from the continent that you mentioned who maybe doesn't get the kind of accolades he deserved. We talk about where he finished in the Ballon d'Ors. All of that will come in the next hour here on talkSPORT. So if you've got a view on it, and Jay, thank you for your call. Stay with us. We'll come to it after 8:15, because up next, we'll be heading to the England camp for the latest on Thomas Tuchel's preparations for Uruguay and Japan. You're listening to Kickoff here on talkSPORT, and we'll be back straight after this.
talkSPORT understands Enzo Fernandez is open to a move to Real Madrid this summer. No surprise there.
No.
A transfer to the Bernabeu would be viewed as a dream move for the Chelsea vice captain. Is that one or two of them just beginning to think maybe jumping ship here, Andy? With you?
Yeah, look, and player turnover at a club like Chelsea is always significant. It happens. For him, I don't think Enzo has been unbelievable since he's come to Chelsea. He's had moments where he's pinched a few goals and he looks decent, but I don't think... I think if you were able to get... Well, I don't know what sort of money you would get. I would only imagine it would be... I think it'd be less than what they gave for him now. But I think if you were to get close to that, I don't think Chelsea would be massively disappointed maybe if he left or if he had to go. I think there are others you'd absolutely need to keep and try and improve a little bit more. If he's already got eyes on Real Madrid and he's already had his
head
turned a wee bit, then if you're going to get, what did they give for him, Ali? Was it 100 on the dot? Or was it
I thought it was 105 or so. I might be around 100. It was certainly round about that figure, which is an incredible amount of money.
I can't believe they're going to get any more than sort of probably 75, 80
that's
for him. Is that what you would think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I had that figure in my head.
And I think if you got that, you've had him there, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I don't see him pulling up many trees in that position, really. Not really. Not quite.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend, even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. They'd been introduced not for leg protection, but instead to give batters a strategic advantage. The idea was that batters could put their leg pads in front of the wicket if they missed the ball, preventing them from being bowled out. Obviously, that all changed when the LBW rule came in, but that was the theory behind them. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Apparently, he'd broken his leg in a match against Sheffield United in 1874 and wanted to stop it from happening again. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads, sewed them into his socks and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. Ta-da! Shin pads. Like all great genius inventors, everyone took the mickey at first. To be fair, he probably looked quite stupid running around with these on. But it's thought his whole Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this protection was pretty important for footballers. Multiple studies have shown wearing shin pads clearly reduces the risk of players getting lower leg injuries. And so in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became a part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says pads must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, and players can get away with a lot. A lot of grassroots clubs are choosing to ban micro shin pads for obvious reasons, though, especially after a 15-year-old player from Penistone Church broke his leg while wearing them. Still no change from IFAB, though. That's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
You're listening to Kick Off on talkSPORT. Hugh, Woozencroft and Scott Minto, Chelsea FA Cup winner, are with you tonight discussing Mo Salah. He has decided to leave Liverpool at the end of the season. What are your views on his legacy? Does he belong in the Premier League's all-time 11? And I'm still intrigued to know if you truly believe he is the best player in Liverpool's history. We'll discuss all of that this hour and take your calls on 03717 223344. In a moment, we will head to the England camp. We'll be hearing from a couple of England players this hour as well, including Everton's James Garner on his chances of making it to the World Cup this summer. And a little bit later on this hour, we'll be discussing whether the Premier League this season has been that bad. If you got a view on it, give us a call. Drop us a text as well on 81089. This is Kickoff. So a little bit later than we expected to be speaking because of the breaking news on talkSPORT. We're going to head to the England camp. England manager Thomas Tuchel naming his 35-man squad for two friendlies against Uruguay and Japan. Two left, two more came in. Both games live on talkSPORT this Friday and next Tuesday as well. 11 players waiting to join up for that second game against Japan. So it isn't quite as big as 35 training at the moment, but it was the first training session of the week for the players. Delighted to say talkSPORT's England correspondent Faye Carruthers was at St George's Park today. Hello, Faye.
Hello, Hugh. Hello, Scott. Nice to speak to you both.
Hey,
Sorry
Faye.
it is a little bit later than usual, but, you know, Mo Salah likes to make headlines, doesn't he?
He does, and they like to keep St George's Park open late into the evening, quite clearly. Listen, firstly, what has it been like being around the camp today? Because I sense there must be a high tension in the air, if you like.
Yeah, it's definitely more competitive. You could see that when the players came out. I tell you what I part loved about it. It felt very old school England in many ways, because John Stones and Harry Maguire led the team out, which is very much how it used to be back in tournaments of old. You would normally see Harry Kane there, but he's one of the 11 who've been given a bit of a rest because of the amount of minutes that he's played this season. But certainly when they started doing their warm-ups after their strength and conditioning, you could really tell that there was a competitive edge. Thomas Tuchel's always really clear with the players about who they're competing with, what position they're competing for, and you could definitely see that was turned up a notch today.
The competition beginning, a bit like a reality show, some have felt, with this kind of, it's almost like two squads effectively for the two matches. But once he explained it last week, I think a lot more people were on board with it, including me. But it does place an extra pressure, particularly on this first match and training this week. There's part of me that thinks, will there be injuries to England players? You know, the level of competition being so intense. How do they intend to manage this week?
Well, you know, obviously they speak with the clubs about injuries and monitoring minutes for players. I think it means that we'll probably get, you know, a decent rotation of players, and Thomas Tuchel will get to see players in action at Wembley, and then they'll decide what they do, who stays on. That's also going to depend on injury and what players have got when they come back off the international break, as to whether they'll stay on with the squad and the 11 players that join, and some will go back to their respective clubs or back for a bit of a rest. So that'll be interesting to see when they do split it again. But I'm with you. I really, you know, apart from the fact that my head was slightly exploding when I had to read out 35 players' names on Friday afternoon, I actually think it's really smart, because you know, there are players that he's not had the chance to call up, not had a chance to see. Other players that he knows what they bring. He knows, you know, and he's seen them within the camp, and we're seeing them within the group. I think this is really important, because a lot of these players are expected to probably be non-starters, you know, the fringe players, but he also needs to see a fair amount of players in case he gets injury. And if you get injury in, you know, big positions, then you have to go back and have a deep squad. And we've got a really deep squad now. It's actually quite exciting. And when you think that for so many years we were really struggling to find centre-backs, we were really struggling to find midfielders, you know, we were searching for that number 6 to play alongside Declan Rice for such a long time. Well, you know, now we've got a plethora of players that can play in that position. So he's going to want to see all the different connections the players can make together, how they ingratiate themselves into the group, and how much they want it. You know, you've got to really want a ticket for the plane and really put in your best effort in order to be included in that group of 26 that have been going out to North America. So, yeah, game on.
Scott, what do you think of Thomas Tuchel doing this, splitting the squad, calling this kind of the last chance for some of those fringe players to stake a claim? Is it the right way to prepare?
I think he's been very clever. He's thought outside the box here. I've not agreed with every selection he's made, but I definitely do agree we're coming to the business end of the season in terms of the Premier League. You know, players are a little bit tired. He's obviously got to make sure they peak for the end of the season as well. And he's not sure about some other players. I'm sorry, though. I know what certain players can do, and that's why I've not called them up. This is the last squad before he actually, you know, calls the proper World Cup squad. So, you know, he knows what Bukayo Saka can do. He knows what Harry Kane can do. He knows what Morgan Rogers can do. So please don't tell me, oh, I know what he can do, so I'm not going to call him up now. Just Trent as an example. If he can't get in that 35, then I'm sorry, he's not coming. The only one who I feel has an option maybe of sort of getting into that is Ollie Watkins. Because I actually think it would be really good for Aston Villa. He's not had a great season. What's happened in the last game since the call-ups? He scored against West Ham. So if he scores another 6 or 7 goals by the end of the season, he can definitely get himself into the squad. The rest, I don't think so. But Hugh and Faye, this is World Cup elite football. And if you can't handle the pressure of this sort of last chance squad now, then you're not ready to play in a World Cup.
Well, let's hear from one of those who's been included. Everton's James Garner spoke to talkSPORT's Jason Bourne a little bit earlier on and discussed the importance of set pieces.
Goal's a goal, and it doesn't matter how it goes in. I think in today's game, I think set pieces are massive. As shown, top of the league at the moment. I'm scoring a lot of set pieces, and I think come the summer they'll be vital. So to get some good takers and some good routines for the summer would be helpful. For me personally, that was probably one of the best feelings that I've ever had. Winning the Euros with the under-21s. So I just want to go that one step further now and hopefully win a trophy for the first team as well.
James Garner there, looking to build on his early experiences of international football. Faye, we're going to hear from Adam Wharton a little bit later too. I wonder if that midfield area is what's going to be crucial for Tuchel, because we know a couple of the settled players. We know Declan Rice, of course. There's going to be a huge debate over who should be number 10 if it is going to be a midfield three. But Elliot Anderson's been that kind of player who got a lot of plaudits partnering Declan Rice, and yet it still feels like Thomas Tuchel wants to examine his options there.
Yeah, without a doubt, but that's smart because, God forbid if anything happened to Declan Rice, who's one of the first players on the team sheet, then he needs to know that he's got players that can step up. And for such a long time, Adam Wharton was the player that everybody thought would, easily have that number 6 shirt. Kobbie Mainoo was somebody who we thought would be for decades to come in an England shirt in midfield. And then Elliot Anderson comes out of the mix, and he's been absolutely fantastic, and he's felt so comfortable in that role. And what I really like about Elliot Anderson in particular is that he can play that box-to-box number 8 as well that we see Declan Rice doing. So actually you could potentially go back to the kind of he goes forward, he goes back, as we saw with Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips early on in Declan Rice's England career. They can help each other out. But going back to what James Garner said about set pieces, this was something that I asked Thomas Tuchel at the squad announcement the other week, because it's going to be vital in those kind of conditions out there, and they're going to need to conserve energy. Players that can deliver a good set piece, as we know James Garner can do, are actually going to be really crucial parts of the squad going forward. And we see the role that Declan Rice now has, taking corners, taking set pieces with free kicks. It's a big part of their game now, and he needs everybody to be able to be doing that. So I just think it's exciting from an England perspective that he's got to find the right combination of 26 to select to go out there that can do all the roles that he wants them to do, but also for safety reasons, for injury reasons, have a little bit of versatility as well. And James Garner has that in the fact that he's able to play as right back and left back as well.
What do you make, Scott, of James Garner and what he's been doing in an Everton shirt this season?
Yeah, I think it's been sensational. I kind of feel sorry for him in the way that it's almost maybe this World Cup's come 6 months too early. I think it's going to have to be, superb both on and off the pitch, the training pitch. I think he's going to have a great game if he does play. He's versatile. We've seen that he's played full-back, both positions for Everton, as well as the 6 and the 8 as well. He's quick. He's a good passer. He's brilliant at set pieces, as Faye was just saying, and he's been asked about. And he just presses well around the pitch. He's got good legs, so he's able to, if needs be. And I'm fascinated to see just how Thomas Tuchel is going to get a set of Englishmen to win the World Cup in these type of conditions where they're hot and humid, because we want to play our way, and he's already said we want to play with a high tempo. Very difficult to do that, but he is someone who's got the legs to be able to do that, and I'm sure there'll be some rotation in the early part. And if he can make a big impression now, maybe, just maybe, he can get himself into the squad. But I just feel it's a little bit too late for him.
A little bit of admin, Faye, for the week to end on, because we know the 11 players that are going to be coming in for the second game. But as I said, it feels like a bit of a reality show this week. When do we find out who's going home, and what will it mean for their possible inclusion in the World Cup?
Well, I think we'll find out after Friday night's game, because they'll need to assess any injuries that are picked up against Uruguay, then look at perhaps the players that they want to see a little bit more from. And look, I don't think you can read too much into it, because injury and playing time and managing minutes are going to definitely play a part. But you would think that it is that kind of, sorry you didn't make the call back kind of reality TV moment you're alluding to. But equally, look, I've sat down with Thomas Tuchel on so many occasions now, and what he says in the moment about what he wants to do, he is not afraid to change his mind or go back on something that he said previously. So, you know, whereas we are, you know, writing off players that perhaps are not in the squad, there are some key players who are injured, Reece James being one of them, you know, that you would expect to be on the plane as long as he can stay fit. So there's still quite a lot of movement to go. And although, you know, these two internationals are really crucial for many reasons, a lot of it is about Thomas Tuchel and his coaching staff getting players up to speed with how they want to play and what and how they want to go about and how they want to be the team that they're going to be in the World Cup, and get used to their methods and who can buy into that, and who is the profile of player that can do the job that they want the players to do. So I think there's going to be so much of that. And this next, they've got 4 training sessions. We're 1 down already. Those training sessions, they're going to be watching all of those players for how they interact with the group behind the scenes, to how they play in training, to the intensity that they're playing, and how they're taking the instructions on board. There's so much that they're going to be analysed on. And then, of course, we get to the game on Friday.
Faye Carruthers with you live from St George's Park, talkSPORT's England correspondent. Thank you very much indeed. Busy week for Faye, busy week for Thomas Tuchel and the Three Lions.
Reality show that you were going to ask her to sing and sign off in that way, but
tonight, reporting live. Faye Carruthers is going to be, exactly. Faye, thank you very much indeed. Yeah. Remember, you can listen to both of those England friendlies during the international break live here on talkSPORT. Friday night, 7:45 kickoff for England against Uruguay. Same start next Tuesday, the 31st of March, for England against Japan. It's going to be a crucial couple of games to understand exactly what Thomas Tuchel is thinking about the Three Lions. And we'll talk about the Three Lions in more detail a little bit later on. We will also, of course, come to the quandary over Ben White. I'm not feeling great about it, I have to say, but I know people are going to disagree. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We'll have more calls on Mo Salah next. Give us a call, 03717 22 3344. You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Matt, the Tottenham fan, and Matt, what do you know, has called in. Matt, good afternoon. Where are you at after that home defeat to Forest, mate?
Well, guys, nice speaking to you.
Nice to speak to you, Matt.
It's not a great position to be in, to be honest. And thanks to Martin's team, the gloss, the pressure has been taken away, because you guys are too busy, you media lot, are too busy battering a team that's 9 points clear, and you're looking for a downfall from that football club. Yet you look down the road and you guys can't even have the decency within yourselves to actually start pointing fingers, and all you want to do is blame manager after manager and that player and the other player, but you just can't bring it to yourselves to actually go, do you know what? It was that previous chairman, that parasite, which I'll never give him airtime to say his name because he's Simon's mate, who he can't even have the guts, because he's too busy protecting his mate, to have the guts to actually go, do you know what? Actually, it stemmed from him, because they told him, do what you please within the margins. He then does what he wants.
Yeah, but Matt, here's the thing, mate. Daniel Levy wasn't playing on the pitch yesterday when you lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest.
Jim, let me explain something to you, mate.
Yes.
Let me explain something to you. You got talkSPORT producers, yeah? They brought in Jim White.
This is Kickoff on talkSPORT. I'm Hugh Woozencroft. Scott Minto is alongside me tonight, the former Chelsea and West Ham defender. Let's hear about how Chelsea's women are getting on. They're playing in the Women's Champions League quarter-final, and it's a London derby away at the Emirates against Arsenal, being watched by talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams.
Midway through the first half, Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0, but Chelsea could have been 2 up inside 8 minutes. First, Alicia Thompson down the right-hand side. The American got inside the penalty area. An effort flicked off of Kadina and beat the goalkeeper, but came back off the left-hand post. And 3 minutes later, the very same post again saved Arsenal. This time, Lauren James inside the penalty area. Some good run by her, and her shot came back off exactly the same post. Arsenal's best moment thus far has come from Stina Blackstenius, who scored the winner in the final last year against Barcelona, but she was adjusted to a foul Buchanan before going one-on-one with Hampton. The England goalkeeper actually made the save anyway. Midway through the first half, decent start to the game. Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0.
OK, let's get more on Mo Salah, who's announced that he will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Or we could go straight back to Ian Abrahams, because there's been a goal at the Emirates.
Arsenal 1, Chelsea 0. I was trying to elongate that report because Arsenal had a free kick right of centre. I thought it might end up coming to something, and it did. It was floated towards the back post. I think it was Alessia Russo might have headed it in. Just waiting to check on the replay. Or was it Blackstenius? It might have been Blackstenius, actually, who got the header. It was a decent ball in, though, and it was Blackstenius 6 yards out who flicked the header past Hannah Hampton. So Chelsea have hit the post twice, but they're behind here. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 0. Stina Blackstenius with the goal.
Lovely header, lovely delivery into the box as well. And Arsenal have themselves in front. Good crowd at the Emirates this evening as well. We'll keep you right up to date here on talkSPORT. But as I mentioned, let's go back to Mo Salah, who's leaving Liverpool at the end of the season after a remarkable time at the club that has brought 377 goal contributions in 435 games in all competitions. And we want to talk about his legacy, not just for Liverpool fans, but maybe his legacy as an African player in the Premier League, his legacy as a Muslim player in world football as well, and what he will be leaving when he leaves the club. So if you want to get involved in that conversation, give us a call, 03717 at 223344. Let's go to George, who's an Aston Villa fan first. Good evening.
You all right, lads?
I guess I should ask you if you're happy to see the back of him if you're a Villa fan.
Yeah, he scored loads of goals against us. I was just curious, where do you rank him in not just Premier League football, in world football? Or what players would you put above Mo Salah?
Currently, or in terms of his legacy?
Yeah, in his legacy, lot.
Well, I think if we're going to be honest, what Mo Salah has achieved in a Liverpool shirt compared to where they were, especially when he joined the club, it's not like he went to Real Madrid at their absolute peak. He has helped drag Liverpool back to the very, very top table in terms of going to win the biggest trophy. That cannot be underestimated in terms of what he's done. And I think in terms of his impact, if you look at any club in English football, an impact of any club in world football, for an individual player, what he's done matches up with just about anybody. I think you'd have to give him the respect at that level.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, he's one of the best, if not the best Premier League signings, I think, ever. I think he's got a word for it. But I do think, like, he had a good 3-4. He has had a good levels at the top, but I think if you're going off individual seasons, I don't think you can get much better than him, if I'm honest.
I agree with you. George, thank you. Thank you for your call. But let me just underline his seasons. First season, 44 goals, 16 assists. Then 27 goals, 10 assists, 23 goals, 13 assists, 31 goals, 6 assists, 31 goals, 15 assists, 30 goals, 16 assists, 25 goals, 14 assists, 34 goals, 23 assists. The only negative is this season, if you want to call it a negative, in that he hasn't matched what he's done so far for Liverpool.
Do you know what, as well, those stats don't tell you? I mean, I was wondering if George was one of them thinking he might be going on the free to Villa Park in the summer, but it's not. It is about the amount of goals you score and the assist as well, but it's actually doing it in the big games. It's doing it when, the real big players step up. And not only has he scored lots of goals, not only has he scored just incredible goals that we, whether you've played the game or just, haven't been able to as a professional, always dreamt about being that good, but it's about scoring them in the big games as well. And that's something that he has been able to do. And that's why it's a really interesting one about whether he's the best African player or not, because might be slightly biased. Didier Drogba was one of those players who his numbers weren't always, anywhere near like the likes of Mo Salah, but in the big games, he would step up and he would score goals and he would bully defenders. So it's a fascinating chat. And also, I've got to just say, one of the producers, Luke, came out with a really good question as well. And it sort of opens it up to beyond Liverpool fans. Would he get into an all-time Premier League 11? When you think about the Rooney, the Thierry Henry, who else is that's been up? I mean,
well, the thing is,
Ronaldo.
I'm one of those who, if I write my best 11, I used to leave Alan Shearer out, and yet I'm here today arguing that because of the numbers, surely Mo Salah has to be in an all-time Premier League 11. It's always down to preference. Ronaldo, Thierry Henry. Luke came in and said he puts Dennis Bergkamp in his, obviously big Arsenal fan. So many incredible players that we've had in this league. I think Mo Salah is certainly in that conversation. I do think it's harder for the players that have played more recently in the Premier League to get in that conversation, because I think we have the longevity argument for all those players from the past, many of whom have retired. We've got their whole careers to judge them on. Obviously, he's been in the Premier League for a very long time, but it's not over yet for Mo Salah. And I think we tend to look at players differently once they've retired.
I mean, look, it looks like that's it now. At the end of the season, he'll be leaving English football and will never be coming back. So we can ask that question. I sometimes think there's a recency bias where people sort of, it's fresh in their minds about what players have done in the last 5 or 10 years. So, it's a fascinating one to see whether non-Liverpool fans would put him in an all-time Premier League 11.
And if you're a fan of African football, would you say he's the greatest African player in Premier League football? I think that one is almost... I think it'd be very hard to argue Mo Salah is not the greatest African player to play in the Premier League. I think he's been absolutely incredible. And the journey's remarkable. I was saying to you during the break, if you look up where Mo Salah's from on the internet, a small town in Egypt, just to make it to the Premier League and then achieve greatness. I looked it up on the internet where he's from, and there were only 2 notable people in history on Wikipedia from where Mo Salah is from. The other one's an army general who was born in 1922. I mean, it is an astonishing journey that he has been on just to make it to the Premier League, let alone what he's done since then.
And one final thing as well is that he's very rarely injured. He's very rarely had any kind of serious injuries at all. So, first of all, he's been available, and there's been top world-class players who have been injured half of their career, or seem to be certainly for half a season, yet he has always been available for selection, and then he's gone out and proved himself to be one of the best players ever.
We'll talk about Mo Salah after the break. I'm so interested to touch on his cultural impact as well, because all the links with the Saudi Pro League, I know a lot of people said, as a Muslim player, the impact that he's had on the game was one of the reasons that he was so attractive to the Saudi Pro League. But if you are a Muslim football fan, maybe a Muslim Liverpool fan, what has he meant to you in that regard as well? Because I think he's been absolutely incredible. We see his celebration after every goal as well, praying on the pitch. We've seen it hundreds of times. That's how good he's been. Did that have an impact on you, on your family, being able to watch Premier League football every weekend? Let us know what you think. 03717 22 3344.
I mean, he himself may not feel that he wants to manage a football team right now. He may feel, with the loss of his father, that that's the last thing he wants to do. So who knows what's in that circumstance?
That's a very good point, Simon. So in terms of the future, has it now, in view of what you're saying, and I agree completely, has this now become more of a joint decision for Tudor and Spurs as opposed to the club alone?
No, not really. Because if Igor Tudor decides that actually this is a welcome distraction from the tragedy that he's just experienced in his life and he wants to manage the team, and you as an owner think that actually you've seen all you need to see from him prior to the tragedy in his personal life, you're still going to have to take a view. And all people that are sitting out there going, well, that's heartless, it's nothing to do with heartless. It's to do with the reality of the world that we live in. There is no point keeping somebody in a job if you were going to take him out of that job prior to the tragedy that's in his life. It might even, without wanting to be overly harsh, it might even cement the thinking, because you've got two situations. You've got, you are teetering on the point of saying this man is not capable of doing the job that we need him to do, and that's not a reflection just of him, it's a reflection of all of us, because the playing squad, us as an ownership model, everything is not right.
Yes.
We need some shock and awe, and it hasn't happened with him, coupled with the fact that you may now perceive him to be distracted for obvious reasons. So I think if your decision was made post the Forest game, in terms of you got beaten this Forest game, you were going to make a change, then with the best will in the world, you can do that with a great deal of empathy to the man. You will honour your commitment to him economically, I suspect.
Yeah.
And say, look, we think it's for the best interest. Whilst the timing is not ideal and the circumstances are not great, it was a decision that we were going to make anyway, and you can handle that. And you handle that properly by doing it from principle to principle.
When you think about famous F1 circuits, the likes of Silverstone, Monza, Monaco come to mind. One of these is not like the others though. Monaco is just one of a number of street circuits on the calendar, and that number's only set to rise. There's a clear difference between a traditional circuit and a street circuit. One is a purpose-built facility on private land, the other is, as it sounds, a race through the streets of a major city. Monaco is the famous example, twisting and turning through the streets of the Principality with iconic backgrounds and, let's be honest, not a lot of overtaking. But from 2026, there'll be a record.
You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Hugh, Woozencroft and Scott Minto, the former Chelsea and West Ham defender. There has been a second goal at the Emirates this evening. Who's it gone to? Ian Abrahams.
34 gone. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0. This is a stunning goal by Chloe Kelly. The Lioness picked up the ball 25 yards out on the left-hand side, stepped onto her right foot and unleashed a low shot that Hannah Hampton was never saving. It was right in the corner of the net, and doubles Arsenal's lead after Stina Blackstenius had headed the ball home some 10 minutes earlier. Chelsea had hit the post, started well, hit the post twice in the opening 8 minutes. They've got to hang on now in this tie. Yes, they're injury hit and without some of their players that were at the Asia Cup as well over the weekend, but they have to hang in on this tie now to make it a game at Stamford Bridge next Wednesday. Just over half an hour gone. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0.
Women's Champions League quarter-final, first leg, of course. Whipped in that finish from Chloe Kelly, skidded off the ground. It was just too fast for Hannah Hampton, the ball squeezing underneath her body. A 2-goal advantage for the home side in the first leg. We'll be back there very shortly indeed. Only 34 minutes, of course, on the clock. But let's get back to your calls on Mo Salah. 03717 223344. I was asking you about his legacy and whether he's your greatest as well, but what impact has he had on the football club? Has he had on you? And is he in the Premier League's all-time 11 for you? I think a number of you have got a view on it. So let's get straight to the calls. Jamam, is it? Liverpool fan, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Yes, it's Jaman, Liverpool fan.
Tell me what Mo Salah's meant to you.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to hear as a Liverpool fan, as a Muslim as well, how you guys are discussing Mohamed Salah. What he's apparently there's statistics that Islamophobic attacks in Liverpool had dropped, or had lessened because of his impact of what he was doing on the pitch, which is remarkable to think that one man can kind of change or kind of lessen the views of kind of ignorance, if you like. But just as a player, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I think Scott was saying about as a role model, as a Muslim man, obviously not drinking. He's built like an absolute brick wall. He's so strong for such a small man. And that just comes from his conditioning, his faith. He's a family man. But I can go on and on and on. But yeah.
Get that seatbelt on.
Put on. I was listening to his farewell. Got me quite emotional. What he's done for the club.
He the best Liverpool player ever for you?
See, I'm not older. I'm similar age to Mohamed Salah, so I wasn't around when King Kenny was around and Ian Rush and people like that. So obviously, like in my era, definitely the best Liverpool player.
But Jermaine, just on that then, I suppose you've still answered it. The one of the Premier League era to compare him with, even though obviously they're different players, is Stevie G. Which player, if you had a chance to sign for Liverpool, knowing what they could offer the club, you could look into the future, who would you have gone for?
I mean, my love for Liverpool comes from Steven Gerrard and Michael Owen. So it's a hard question that pulls on the heartstrings a little bit. But Steven Gerrard, I think for moments, FA Cup, Champions League. Unfortunately, with the league, he never quite got there. But I think for moments and sort of things that you're going to remember for the rest of your life, of course, Gerrard. But in terms of like accolades and what he's achieved in terms of silverware, I'd say Mohamed Salah.
Jermaine, brilliant call. Thank you so much for getting in touch with talkSPORT.
He makes a good point as well. But the way he lives his life, he struggles on the body fat, doesn't he? Mo Salah? About 0.2% body fat.
It was interesting to hear so many Liverpool fans saying his legs had gone this hour. I know Liverpool fans watch him more closely than me. I still think he's got a lot to offer, and he could still play Premier League football for someone. It's been a downturn for many reasons this season, but last season, not too long ago, his output was incredible. It can't drop off a cliff, I think, that quickly, can it?
No, I agree. And while, of course, when you're sort of mid-30s, early to mid-30s, you're not going to be as quick, perhaps, but you're right. It wasn't that long ago where he was absolutely nailing it in the Premier League. And look, there were many mitigating factors why Liverpool perhaps have dropped off. Obviously, with the loss of Diego Jota and how it's hit them, new players have come in, haven't hit the ground running. The current players, including Mo Salah, haven't been as good as last season. I think he's missed Trent behind him as well, and the passing and just the knowledge and knowing of each other and how they work together for many years. Whether he needs to drop back, whether he can stay up, the pass, the runs he makes,
makes a difference.
Yeah, but no, just an absolutely sensational. Amongst all the superstars they've had, he's been the superstar.
Vanessa has given talkSPORT a call. Let's go there next. Good evening.
Wow, what a shock.
A shock?
I mean, he's only got another year on his contract. I didn't think he'll leave this early.
Yeah, but things were going poorly. He had the little fallout with Arne Slot.
I agree with that one, yeah.
No, but I agree with you, Vanessa, that the timing of it still, I'm not 100% sure. Why now? Especially if, a club hasn't been sorted yet. Why now?
Yeah, exactly. Why now? Why has he decided? I think he will go to Real Madrid for Trent.
Unbelievable if he does that.
No, he's a Liverpool legend. I'll give him that.
All right.
He really will be missed at Liverpool.
I'm sure he will. Vanessa, thank you very much for your call. Just got to go back to the Emirates Stadium to speak to Ian Abrahams because the ball's been in the back of the net. Has it counted, Ian?
No, it hasn't. It's Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0. I'm sure VAR are going to look at this one. Berman is the player who scored for Chelsea. She's looking around thinking, what's gone on? It was a free kick that was taken way out, standing over at Cuthbert and Baltimore. Baltimore floated it to the back post. Keeper came to punch it, just punched it up in the air. And then at the far post, Berman just nodded the ball into the unguarded net. There was an Arsenal defender just in front of her. Whether or not she's adjudged her foul or not, I have to say, she's barely touched her. I mean, if this goal doesn't count, we can all pack up and go home because I'm really not quite sure if it was a foul on the goalkeeper or it was a foul on the defender. But it hasn't counted, well, I might just pack up and go home then.
Yeah, because we completely...
Don't do that yet, Moose.
We agree with you here, Ian, so don't worry.
The only thing I'm thinking is, for me, that's not a foul, even though she's climbed really early and, you know, you could argue maybe the hands are on there, but it's not enough to say it's a foul. I just wonder whether it came off her arm rather than her head or sort of shoulder.
I think it certainly came off her head. I mean, I haven't done a replay at half-time. But this, for me, is two reasons why I'm really against VAR. And whenever I speak to referees or what have you about it, they can't answer these two questions. One, people come to football to see goals, not goals disallowed. And I think that we could have had that goal. Secondly, if it's not a goal for one of whatever reason, offside, handball, push, etc., etc., tell everybody.
Yeah.
I'm here, there's other people in the stadium here, and none of us have got the faintest idea why that goal doesn't stand. Now, I haven't paid to come here tonight, but the playing punters here surely deserve that explanation.
No, you're absolutely right, Ian.
Don't tell me they're paying you, Moose.
He does it for the love of the game. Ian Abrahams, thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Indeed. Let's squeeze in one more call on Liverpool from Jack. Good evening.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Very well indeed. How are you feeling about Mo Salah leaving?
Oh, I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. I think it's just such an unexpected time for it. It's like a Tuesday, 6 o'clock. It came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, what 6:45 tonight? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just too early to talk about is he the greatest African player? Does he deserve to be in the greatest Prem 11?
Too early.
Emotions are so high.
No, come on. Too early to call Mo Salah the greatest African player in Premier League history. I mean, how many years has he been here?
8.
8 years.
And we know he's leaving. You know, he hasn't left yet, but we know he's leaving. So I think
I think once he leaves, I think that's when we can properly sit down and talk about it, because...
What's going to change in the next 7 games? He's played 323 Premier League games. He's scored 191 goals. He's got 94 Premier League assists. He's 4th all-time for Premier League goal scorers, and we can't assess his legacy in the Premier League yet.
I mean, when you say the stats like that, you can't really lie, can you?
He's been unbelievable.
No, he could take them to the Champions League and the FA Cup, and I still don't think it changes either way. I think what he's done, I think is absolutely the perfect time, especially with him coming up. But yeah, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, he's waiting for the rush hour, hasn't he, for everyone to get in the car and listen to it.
Perfect timing. Jack, how do you move on without him? Will Arne Slot still be in charge next season? How do you replace Mo Salah?
I don't think Slot will be in for... Oh, sorry. I think Slot will only be in for how long we're in the Champions League. And I said this from the start.
You think he'll be gone by the end of the season?
Oh, yeah. Whatever happens, even if we win it, I'm sure he'll leave. But replacing Salah, you can't replace Salah player for player-wise. You'd have to change the team around, really. Maybe play with Ekatike and Isak up top. But it's one of those things where it's almost like replacing Gerrard.
Yeah, you can't like for like. And I agree with a lot of what you said, Jack, but you're telling me then if Arne Slot in his first season wins the Premier League and his second season wins the Champions League, he's going to get the sack?
I wouldn't say he'd get sacked, but I can just see this world of him walking. I really can. I don't know why, but I can really see it.
I'll be honest with you, I can't see them winning the Champions League anyway.
Jack, appreciate your call this evening on talkSPORT. Yeah, I don't think anyone sees Liverpool winning the Champions League. So many Liverpool calls lined up. Next up, I'm going to try and rattle through them all and end this conversation at the end of the hour. So if you're on the line, keep waiting. We'll be back with you next. You're listening to Kickoff here on talkSPORT.
see North London. Can you hear me, Spurs? You're a Jamie O'Hara, ticking. Can you... Oh, my God, what's going on? Hold on. Can't work out. Can you hear me, ticking? You're the one of a beating. Can you hear me encouraging signs? Signs. Can you hear me signs? You're the one of a beating Beavertown Brewery. 3-point lane. I do you a favour. The Sainsbury's Stadium. The big cockerel. Can you hear me, cockerel? You're the one of a beating to Darius Bafo. Help me out. Spurs, you're the one of a beating. Has anyone seen the Gunners? Mike Keown. Can you hear me, Keown? You're going to win a liver beating Kepper. That Lucas MP. And that Lucas MP equal for the forever. Gunnosaurus. Kepper. Arteta's light bulb. Can you hear me, light bulb? You're going to win a liver beat with the dog. With the dog. What's up to him? He's alive. Can you hear me, Arsenal? You're going to win it.
You are useless. Honestly, you're a shambles for a man. What a weekend of football. Spurs. Oh, my word. What on earth happened? What is going on at this football club? We're going down. Spurs are going down. Chelsea disrespected the ball again. What's happening to them? They're in shambles. Arsenal, they bottled it in the League Cup final. Does Arteta need to take the blame for starting Kepa in goal?
This is Kickoff on talkSPORT. Hugh Woozencroft alongside Scott Minto, the former Chelsea FA Cup winner. We're going to get back to your calls in Mo Salah in a moment, but the halftime whistle about to go at the Emirates Stadium. So let's get the lowdown on the first half from Ian Abrahams.
Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0. Arsenal lead thanks to Stina Blackstenius' header on 22 minutes for a free kick. It was a good header 6 yards out, a blinding shot from Chloe Kelly with a right foot from 25 yards out low, skimming across the surface beyond Hannah Hampton. Chelsea have had the ball in the net for Verla Berman, headed home after a free kick had been headed up in the air, but it was controversially disallowed for a foul. Not many people saw what the foul was, but the foul was given anyway. And before that, earlier, before Arsenal even scored, Chelsea had twice hit the post. Thompson and James denied by the woodwork. Arsenal, though, grew into the game and by half-time have established a very decent lead. Half-time, Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0.
Our latest competition has landed. talkSPORT giving you the chance to bag £20,000 completely tax-free. You can head to talksport.com/win right now to enter. But let's get back to your calls on Mo Salah. Craig's a Liverpool fan. Good evening.
Good evening, you. Good evening, Scott. How
Hi,
you doing,
Craig.
guys? You all right?
Very well. Thanks for giving us a call. How are you feeling? Is it setting in that Mo Salah's not going to be a Liverpool player?
Or is it too early still?
Well, I'm going to give my age away now. I mean, I'm 62 this year, so is it a bombshell? No, it's not. Is it a surprise? No, it's not. He only signed a new contract 9 months ago. Now the news has come out 6:45 tonight. He's agreed terms with Liverpool to leave on a free at the end of the season. So I think the rift between him and Arne Slot has never healed after the Leeds game, where we drew 3 apiece. You know, I mean, when you look at his figures he put out for 9 years, when he signed from Roma, he said, "I'll give everything to Liverpool," and he's certainly done that over 9 years. Is he the greatest ever to play for the club? Not for me. The greatest ever for me, and I'm looking at him now on my wall, is the late great Emily News. That shows how old I am. He's the only Liverpool captain to lift the European Cup twice. That's never been broken. But Mo Salah, I mean, if you look at his goals, wow, and he's behind Ian Rush and Roger Hunt. That says it all. But I think if he was Argentinian or Brazilian, he'd have won the Ballon d'Or by now.
Has he been disrespected at times? It's felt like Mo Salah has felt that himself. Do Liverpool fans feel that on his behalf as well?
I'll be honest with you, because I used to work for the club as well, so I think because he's Egyptian, he doesn't get the credit that he should get. I think, I'm 62, nearly 62, so, and everybody looks at footballers in a different generation, and it's quite ironic that Mo Salah's announced he's leaving Liverpool today when it's also the birthday of the master, Johan Cruyff. So I mean, the thing is, Mo Salah will always be a Liverpool legend, that's for sure. But you can't replace Mo Salah. You know, he's a one-off. I mean, I think Liverpool will sign 2 wingers in the summer now. Arne Slot won't be there next season, that's for sure. There's only one manager I think they should go for. Whether they get him, I don't know, but I'm going to put it out there now. And for me, that's Luis Enrique at PSG. I mean, so I think I'll be honest with you. I think we've got 10 games left. We've got 7 in the league. We're not going to beat City at the Etihad in the FA Cup.
You just give him a fond goodbye. Fond goodbye.
We're not going to beat PSG. But the thing is, he will cry when he walks off that pitch at Anfield at the end, because he will get a reception which will live long in his life and in his memory, and his family. You know, they can go away happy, but they'll never be forgotten, because Liverpool's not just a football club. It's a unique place. It's a unique city, and when the people take you in, they treat you as family and they look after you until the day.
And Mo Salah said that a little bit earlier on, didn't he? Just what the city had meant to him. He actually said he couldn't put it into words, you know, the way that it's changed him because of what it means. So,
but also whatever he does in the future, who knows, he'll never walk alone.
Exactly. Ash is a Liverpool fan. Of course, I don't know why I keep saying it. It's habit. I'm sorry. Ash, good evening. What's your view?
Hi, mate. I just think it's an absolute disgrace what FSG have done. I just can't wrap my head around why they've allowed this to happen, because there's a reason why they've kept Slot, and it makes no sense. It's just a very toxic environment, and this could have been avoided, because if they would have sacked Slot like they should have done 6 months ago, or even last month or a couple of weeks ago, and got in Gerrard or Alonso, Salah wouldn't be leaving. It's just toxic to watch. The fact, I'm fed up with watching it.
Do you think the club has put the manager before Mo Salah?
Absolutely. That's a fact. If they'd got Gerrard in 2 weeks ago or a month ago, Salah would not be announcing he's leaving.
Do you think he would have stayed for next season, though, aside from the announcement?
If Gerrard come in and we start playing good football, because everyone's saying Salah's leg's gone, but no, Salah hasn't gone from a world-class player, the best player in the Premier League, to all of a sudden not being able to play football. If you look at Slot stats, we don't press anymore. Our statistics have gone down in terms of pressing, turnovers in the final third, and I think we've been outran 25 out of 30 games this season. So it's just you can't expect Salah to be the player he was when he's not even getting the ball, and we play sideways possession football for 90 minutes. It's just all Slot. It makes no sense. I don't understand how he's still here. It makes no. My personal view is this is all intentional. They've kept Slot this long because they want Salah to leave. and that's why it makes no sense.
Ash, I agree with you about the drop-off. We discussed that earlier. Just because someone's in their sort of early to mid-30 doesn't mean to say that they have one bad season or half a bad season. That means that they've now gone, in inverted commas. But Arne Slot, if he doesn't finish in the top 5, and there's still a chance of that happening, it looks like it's almost a bit of a battle between Chelsea and Liverpool. Villa, that was a massive win for them at the weekend. I don't think Arne Slot will be there if they don't finish top 5. If they go from champions to outside of the Champions League and they don't win the Champions League, he's not going to be there. So I go back to I'm not having that Slot's kind of, or that there's been a concerted effort to get him out, because if he's just patient and waited to the end of the season, I don't think Slot will be there anyway.
You're absolutely right. Ash, thank you for your call. Let's try and squeeze in one more. Toby, good evening. Your views on Mo Salah and his legacy at Liverpool?
Evening, guys. What a player, a cultural hero, inspiration to many young kids, many young Africans, Egyptians. Now, tell me if I'm being controversial, but Mo Salah is the first name on the team sheet if I were to name my all-time Premier League 11. And I'll explain why, but do you think that is controversial?
Slightly.
This season, yes.
Well, this season, of course, but in his position, nobody is close to him. As a left-footed right winger, what he has done is just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm not saying he'd necessarily be the best name on the team sheet, but in every other position, there's somebody, you've got like Shearer, Kane, Rooney, for example. But as a right winger, nobody's close. He's absolutely phenomenal, and I think he'll be remembered for a very, very long time.
Absolutely brilliant call, Toby. Thank you very much indeed. I think he's right on the positional thing as well, because even if I think of, say you do a 4-3-3, I know some people do a 4-2-2, but out on that right-hand side, it's often a player who didn't really play there, but you're just trying to fit in, and maybe a Ronaldo, who was actually better on the other side, or a Thierry Henry, who drifted off the other side, but also played through the middle. Does Beckham? I don't think he does.
No.
On the right-hand side, who else is there?
I played against David Beckham, and I've got nothing but respect for that guy as a footballer. Forget anything outside of football, but what he did for United and for England, and I was always there and always stepped up. Massive respect. But Mo Salah, for me, in terms of
best right winger,
I mean, look, I think you can say Cristiano Ronaldo, although he was probably arguably better further up front, actually, and Wayne Rooney went out to the left-hand side. But in terms of the modern game, the inverted winger, no one can touch him. You have to go back to further when there were right-footed right wingers, and then you could perhaps say that. But no, Mo Salah's right up there, if not the very best.
Incredible. Thank you so much for your calls, Liverpool fans, this evening. Of course, there's going to be more in the sports bar from 10 o'clock with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. That I'm sure they're going to take your calls on Mo Salah. And I think Arne Slot might pop up. It popped up once or twice, didn't it, during our chat? I'm sure that you can share your views in an hour's time. The number is always 03717 223344. You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Labrix. It's 18+, gambleaware.org. In the next hour, we'll be discussing whether Ben White should have been recalled by England. Stay with us.
So look, every game at the moment is going to be tough for Spurs, but that next one up at Sunderland, Harry, that is, I mean, because on the same day, West Ham home to Wolves.
Yeah.
Right. And
I mean, the Sunderland game, Andy, as you say, I mean, they're on the back of beating Newcastle, so they're going to come back home, and the crowd are going to be in a great, they're going to be so up for their team, having just beaten Newcastle, that the place is going to be jumping. What a tough game that's going to be at Sunderland. So certainly not going to be easy for whoever they get in. If they decide to change, it's going to be a tough gig. I mean, you know, at the moment, it's looking more and more to me now suddenly like Tottenham or West Ham, which, you know, I want them both to stay up for sure. But that's the way it's starting to look at the moment. Forest, they look quite strong. You know, they're strong in midfield. The centre-halves get on and do a job. They're even talking about, you know, Woodsy coming back, which would be a plus for them. You know, the last few games, they look like they could be okay. So, and Leeds don't deserve to be down there. What I've seen of them this season, they've worked their socks off, and there's been so many games that just haven't quite gone their way. But I think that crowd at Ellen Road, you know as well as anybody how intimidating that can be. So I think Leeds will probably get out of trouble as well. But so it really looks like it comes down to the two London clubs, which is you know, very unfortunate. You know, I certainly would love to see them both stay up.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
You're listening to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Hugh, Woozencroft and Scott Minto, the Chelsea FA Cup winner. This hour we'll discuss Chelsea a little bit. Liam Rossini has been given the backing by the ownership. talkSPORT understands that even if Chelsea don't make the Champions League, he'll remain in charge. Chelsea fans, what do you make of that? We'll also take your calls on the entertainment factor or not in football right now. And we'll ask if Ben White should have been recalled by England. Has he matured? Is he more prepared for the international fold? And does he owe an explanation for walking out on a World Cup? Let us know what you think. 03717 223344. This is Kickoff. A couple of scores to tell you about in the EFL. Just past the hour mark, Doncaster lead Port Vale by 1-0 in League One. And in League Two, Oldham Athletic 2-0 up on Notts County. I'll try and keep you up to date with those before the end of the hour as well. We're going to head back to some, information, some news from the England camp. We spoke to Faye Carruthers a little bit earlier on. And we heard from James Garner, one of those that Thomas Tuchel's going to take a close look at in the midfield area. He was called up for the first time for this squad. A man who hasn't really been favoured under Thomas Tuchel. He's been playing under 21 football since Thomas Tuchel's been in charge. Is Crystal Palace midfielder Adam Wharton. But he is in this England squad, and this game on Friday against Uruguay could be very, very important to him. Earlier on, he spoke to Faye.
Thomas Tuchel always talks about connections, and he wants to see the different connections that different players have with each other. Obviously, you've played alongside Dec. We know that Elliot Anderson's been playing more of a 6 but can play an 8 as well. Yeah. Who do you have the best connection with? What England midfielder gets the best out of you?
I mean, it's hard to say. I've only really played with Dec and Jude against Albania, and then Bosnia was a while ago. I think it was James Maddison, Conor Gallagher. So, and then 10 minutes against Serbia, I think. So I've not done too much.
Do you get those connections in training, though, that you maybe go, do you know what, we think along the same lines?
Yeah, a little bit. So I think for me, I enjoy playing with people who like to be in the pockets and who want to get on the half turn, because I like playing them passes into them. So, yeah, but I think obviously all the players in midfield that are playing in them sort of positions are very intelligent, and they look for them positions. So, yeah, I think when you've got that many top players, I don't think it really matters too much who's there, because they're always going to find the right positions and give you an option, because they always want the ball, which is, as long as you want the ball, then I'd be pretty happy playing with you. So, yeah, I don't think there's any particular sort of players.
Yeah, you have incredible vision. We've talked about that when we've commentated on you on talkSPORT on many occasions. But you also said to me that you never think your performances are amazing. You're always immediately coming out and seeing what you can improve on. How do you think your game has evolved? Bearing in mind, you're playing in Europe at the moment. You've had many experiences, including going to the Euros in 2024. How has your game evolved from that debut that you made?
I think a lot's changed since then. But yeah, I think just more of an understanding of the game, trying to become a bit more vocal on the pitch, especially at Palace. I think being in the midfield, I think you sort of have to speak a lot more. You have to speak with obviously defenders, then you've got the wide players and the strikers. So I think you've got to speak to a bit of everyone. It's about trying to just communicate more, because then it helps the team if everyone knows what they're sort of doing. And then on the ball, off the ball, there's a lot of different things that have changed, but just trying to work on it all really. With the gaffer at Palace, just trying to take as much as I can from him, with the way we play. And then Europe's been different this year, so it's been a lot more on the ball for us. So I think then trying to keep the ball moving quick, and trying to sort of break down a little lot, which we haven't really done a lot in the Premier League, because teams are more aggressive against us.
And that's going to be key at the World Cup as well. We've seen that with England, and where they've struggled before. Just a couple more questions for you. When you look at your journey, hate the journey bingo term, but when you look at it and you go back to age 10, playing at Wembley in the national primary finals versus playing for England at Wembley versus going to a European Championship versus potentially going to a World Cup. Do you look back at that 10-year-old at Wembley and go, wow, what a journey?
Yeah, I don't think you could have sort of written that script back then, but no, it's been a very special journey. Lots of ups and downs, lots of different paths taken that I probably would never have thought would happen. But I'm glad how everything's sort of gone. And yeah, I'm just happy that I'm able to play football and express myself and try and have a benefit on any team that I play with.
Just finally, how desperate are you to get that ticket, as Thomas Tuchel keeps calling it? Get the ticket. I've got visions of you all walking up the plane being literally handed your ticket.
Yeah. No, I think it's every young boy's dream to be able to go to a World Cup to represent the country. So, I'm gonna, try and impress as much as I can and try and play as well as I can up until the players get on that plane, and hopefully I'm one of them. So I think there's still a few games to play before then, so a lot to happen, but hopefully I can do well enough and show that I'm worthy of a ticket on the plane. Like I said, there's a lot of top players, so I'm sure whoever gets them tickets will be worthy of them and definitely deserve to represent the country, and I'm sure they'll do the country proud.
I said one final question, but I have got one more, because in Kansas, where England will be training, Argentina are also training, and I've just heard you say to a colleague that Messi was your idol growing up.
Yeah.
Potential of sneaking to watch Messi training, or
I've never seen him train or play, so I mean I wouldn't turn it down. No, Walter from Palace, he's Argentinian, so I might have to send him a message and tell him to get me in somehow. No, it would be great to see him in person, but I'd hope England would beat them if we played them.
Adam Wharton there. Crystal Palace and England midfielder, of course.
By the way, if they like Charlie Bucket, they handed out these golden tickets.
Honestly, I'd love it. Faye's absolutely right. I think that's how they should do it. Just everyone opens up an envelope and you've either got a golden ticket or a ticket home, probably.
Bar of chocolate.
Listen, it's a difficult situation that Adam Wharton finds himself in that he had a really good period when he was playing at a really high level. He's still being spoken about for huge moves in the summer. We know what talent he's got. And at his peak, Thomas Tuchel wasn't calling him up. Now he's not exactly... It's not just him, but Crystal Palace aren't hitting the heights at the moment and haven't done this season. And he's now been called into a situation where he's basically got 4 training sessions, probably a game on Friday, to impress upon the manager that he should be squeezing himself into that World Cup squad. It's almost like it might be too much pressure in such a short space of time.
I don't think it is too much pressure, because I think it's still nothing compared to what the pressure will be if you do represent England in the World Cup, especially in the knockout stages. Hugh, that's pressure.
I know, but even if you said, I'm definitely going to be there for 2 games, but because he's done this thing where 11 players are going to go home after the game on Friday...
If you go through it, then you're able to go to the next level, which is the World Cup again. So I absolutely don't have a problem with that. Can you handle it? Have you got the mentality? Yeah. Are you strong enough? How's your character? Right, you've got 4 training sessions and maybe half a game, and then I'll decide whether you're coming to the World Cup or not. I don't mind that. We know that probably 2/3, not just 11 of the players are decided in terms of the squad and who's travelling. He won't say that now, but. No, I mean, Adam Wharton, look, I think last season he had problems with injuries. This season, I don't think he's ever played so many minutes at the top level. And he's such an incredible player. And one of the reasons why I would take him is that sometimes he's inconsistent, but what he has is that vision. And he's talked about how he wants players in the pocket. He's one of those players in the modern day where it's pass, at 98% pass completion. Yeah. He doesn't mind losing the ball for going for a goal. Bruno Fernandes is another one of those players where I'll risk losing it because I know that I could create something. The only problem with that is, one, in those conditions, you need to be able to keep the ball. And 2, does Thomas Tuchel actually like that type of player? And my gut feeling is he doesn't.
The only thing that I would say on it is he has that that Michael Carrick-like quality of being able to pick a through ball through the lines into a number 10 on the half turn that might be able to unlock a defence. He also has, unlike the other central midfielders, he's left-footed. And he's got that balance going towards your left-hand side. I know people will say it doesn't mean that much, but your ability to move the ball a second quicker in one direction, a player that feels like more natural on their left-hand side. Again, it might open up the game for someone like an Anthony Gordon to stretch in behind or something like that. I really like him as a player, but I feel like even listening to him say, I haven't really played that often with the other players in the team. It's like, how are you meant to impress upon Thomas Tuchel then?
Find a way.
That there's going to be a relationship that'll win you a World Cup.
Find a way. Find a way.
So James Garner.
Yep.
You're not finding a way for James Garner?
I really like James Garner, and I actually feel that he's probably more a Thomas Tuchel player than Adam Wharton, but I would go for Adam Wharton.
Kobbie Mainoo is in there. You're going to find a way for him?
Yeah, but don't ask me to pick the 26 now. You're putting it right. You're putting it right.
My point is
Elliot Anderson for sure.
And Elliot Anderson, I think everyone thinks he's going to be going to the World Cup. Yeah. It's great that those deeper midfield positions, we've got players now queuing up. But my issue is the depth, really, in terms of experience and caps. James Garner hasn't been capped. Adam Wharton has 3 caps. And Elliot Anderson probably has a handful of caps as well, even though he did really, really well. Yeah. He did, but you're going off to say, go on then, win the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just go off to a tournament or go off, and play a difficult game. It's now, can you go and beat the world's best?
In those conditions.
Exactly.
And I keep stressing those conditions because they definitely will make a difference. The type of high-tempo Premier League game, the physicality, it's going to be very difficult to play that type of style. So, yeah, you need to caveat it with that as well. I really like Adam Wharton, and for the record, I would take him. I just think that Thomas Tuchel perhaps thinks he's not mobile enough because, yes, he can play that ball, but in the 4-1-4-1, you almost need that one holder to be able to not just play those forward balls, which I think Elliot Anderson can as well, but also help protect the back four.
For me, it's probably physicality and aggression where Anderson gets about, puts himself about, Garner too, Rice obviously, and so I think that's maybe where he falls down.
But again, it's that when you're going to knockout stages here, you need a play of moments. It's moments that will win you a game where it's so tight. And he has that in his locker. So while I wouldn't start him, I'd always think if there's runners in there and perhaps in midfield, Elliot Anderson's not quite getting on the ball, he's your person who could look for the players in the pocket and be that quarterback.
If you've got a view on England's midfield, give us a call, 03717 22 3344. You're listening to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. It's 18plusgambleaware.org. We'll continue our conversation about the 3 Lions next, discussing Ben White. Should he be back in the England squad?
Hello, Barry. Good morning.
Okay?
Yeah. Go for it, Baz.
I just want to say, every Monday mid-morning, we have to listen to Martin going on and on and on. It just becomes too much, and it's making me want Man City to win because he's just moaning all the time.
Don't put it on me, fella. Don't put it on me, Barry. So all those times when we denied you winning those 3 Premier Leagues back in the day with Sir Ferguson, was that got something to do with it? Yeah, the fact that Man United players, the former players, have all got it against Arsenal. You Man United fans. If you could pick a team without me involved, don't involve me. Just say, which is the team you despise the most in the Premier League? Come on. Who is it?
We saw what a coward you were when
It's got that big now.
When you were managing.
It's got that big now that you even want your local rivals to win ahead of us. Well done to you. Well done. Look what happened to our local rivals.
To be honest, our main rivals.
Spurs. Start having your own things to go after as a football club. Don't just bash us. When was the day? When was the day Man United wanted to be champions? Will we see that again soon?
What's your results? Yeah, you will see that again, Mark.
Well, because you've got one game a week at the moment, haven't you? It's easy for you, isn't it?
Barry, the floor is yours. Finish your call off for me. On you go.
Hey, what score were Man U Arsenal last time we met?
Well, the thing is, let's just put it this way. So we've played 50 games. You're going to play 40 games maximum this season, yeah? Because that's at the moment. What have you? You've got 7 games. You play 33 matches. So you're fresh. When you beat us, you're fresh. You beat Man City as well.
Trophies lately, Man United or Arsenal.
You're listening to Kick Off on talkSPORT with Hugh, Woozencroft and Scott Minto. Before we talk Ben White, let's head back to the Emirates Stadium. Have Chelsea shown any resolve after going 2 down? Ian Abrahams.
Not really, no. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0, just past the hour mark. In fact, they're indebted to Hannah Hampton, who did make a bit of an error for the Chloe Kelly goal in the first half, but she made a really good save this time. Alessia Russo cutting on her right foot, left-hand side of the penalty, thrashed one goalwards, and right in front of her face, Hampton pushed the ball to safety. If that had gone in 3-0, probably would have been good night in terms of the tie. Chelsea need to score next. They have brought on Cannon Reitering, but they really need to get a goal. It's hard to see at the moment where that's going to come from. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0, 62 on the clock.
They're just replaying Mo Salah's goals on the TV in front of us. They're just watching Man United get carved to pieces at home. I think it was 7. Anyway, nightmares about Mo Salah. I'm sure a few opposition fans are going to be feeling that over the next few days.
It's impossible to pick his top 10 goals.
So many great goals.
So many.
Yeah. Let's anyway continue our conversation about the England squad. Obviously, by the way, if you haven't heard why we're talking about Mo Salah, it's because he's leaving Liverpool at the end of the season.
Where have you been?
Yeah, I know. Where have you been? But that's the big breaking news this evening. You'll be able to give your views on it during the sports bar. The number is always 03717 223344. We were discussing the England midfield a few moments ago. Interesting conversation. One of the big headlines regarding the 3 Lions this week is the recall of Arsenal's Ben White. That was after Jarell Quansah withdrew from the squad, which I think has divided fans slightly for a number of reasons. I think we might be split on this slightly as well.
Not as much as you think, but you know.
Ben White obviously left the World Cup in Qatar after 3 games, citing personal reasons. Subsequently told Gareth Southgate that he didn't want to be called up. They did attempt to call him up. He told Edu. In fact, he never told Gareth Southgate and never told Steve Holland. If that is the reason why he wanted to leave the World Cup, a breakdown in relationship with those two, he's never expressed it directly to them. And I don't think he's expressed it to really anyone else, which is why I'm kind of really finding it hard to understand why he's been recalled by Thomas Tuchel. Firstly, you didn't think he was in the best 35 players. So I wonder why, from a PR perspective, Thomas Tuchel has felt the need to reopen the Ben White chapter and cause unnecessary headlines when he should just be preparing for the World Cup. For me, that's a big one. Aside from what you might feel, whether Trent Alexander-Arnold should be called up, I don't really see the need for this discussion over Ben White to happen, because if he wasn't in the best 35, he's not going to go to the World Cup anyway. That's my view on it. why, if he wasn't in the best 35, you're not interested in him going.
But Jarell Quansah was got injured, didn't he? And
Jarell Quansah, so he's number 37 because there was also Harvey Barnes that has been called in.
I think you can connect the Trent one because you can argue why is Trent not in the 35, and then even if it's sort of like a player who can play right back but is a centre back as well in Quansah, and then you bring in a right back and you don't bring in Trent, which to me, I don't want to say it's personal because I don't know that, but just when he was asked questions by Faye, it seemed to me that, the short answer was like, I don't think Trent's got any chance of getting in the World Cup squad. And that's a separate discussion we can chat after Ben White. Look, I think the only thing we disagree in is that I believe in redemption. I believe that people should be given a second chance, especially, if there's a bit of time has followed. Actually, the number one reason, which should be the football reason, I don't understand.
Let me very quickly interrupt you. We'll come back to this in a moment. There has been a third goal on the evening at the Emirates. Who's it gone to? Ian Abrahams.
It's gone to Chelsea. It's Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1. This is a stunning goal by Lauren James. It's a stunning goal by anybody in the world, but by Lauren James, even by her standards, this is quite incredible. It's a corner that's been cleared. It's around 30 yards out on her left foot. I thought she was just lofting the ball inside the penalty area to try and aim for somebody's head. Oh no, she spotted the goalkeeper border a yard, 2 yards maybe off her line, not a long way off her line, and she's lifted it over the goalkeeper and into the back of it. It's a delicious lob. It's a goal really only Lauren James could score, and if it was Mo Salah, you'd be seeing this goal over and over and over again. It is absolutely sensational. It's Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1, Lauren James with an absolute stunner.
She does frustrate me, Lauren James, because I hands down, she should be the best player in the world, bar none. No one should be able to touch her. The conversation should only be about how high her ceiling is. Honestly, she's got that much talent. It's ridiculous.
That was a training ground goal.
Oh my!
That was just a lazy kind of, I'll take a touch and I'll lean back and I'll just put this postage stamp. I do think the keeper should have done better, to be honest. I know what Moose is saying about being a wonderful strike, and it was. But come on, the Chelsea, they're coming back, aren't they? Making a comeback.
2 legs, of course. 67 minutes gone in the first. But Chelsea definitely giving themselves a lifeline in the tie. So we were discussing Ben White, and you said you believe in second chances. That's not where we differ, Scott. I do believe in second chances. Of course, why not? But anyone that gets a second chance has to show a level of development, a level of growth, a level of extra maturity compared to where they were in the first place.
As a person or as a player?
Well, whatever the situation has been, they have to show that they've moved on from where they were whatever the incident is.
Yeah, but we don't know he has
to the second. Not necessarily. Well, again, we don't know he hasn't, and maybe he's had those conversations internally. But he walked out on his teammates at the World Cup. Some of those are still in the England squad. Maybe he's told them. He certainly walked out on the country and the England fans that pay a lot of money to go out to Qatar. And a lot of money to go all over the world to support England. Didn't give them a reason as to why he couldn't be there. And again, he cited personal reasons at the time. I believe that that's an okay excuse to leave a tournament, to be perfectly frank. But the reason that I say there isn't a growth or maturity is because there has been a void created by Ben White. And he has sat back while journalists and fans have filled that void. I went on the internet and typed in the words Steve Holland. Now, there were reports that there was a fallout between England's assistant coach Steve Holland and Ben White at the time. If you go on the internet, you'll see fans, mainly of an Arsenal persuasion because they want to back Ben White, but fans from all over the country calling Steve Holland any type of name yesterday after Ben White was recalled, pinning everything that happened on Steve Holland. So he has allowed the reputation of Steve Holland to be publicly tarnished by not saying exactly what happened. Now, maybe Steve Holland is completely responsible, but the fact is we don't know. Fans don't know. Fans that have made up their minds because Ben White hasn't been prepared to be a grown man and say what the issue is, especially to Steve Holland's face. Now, we are grown men, Scott. And if you have an issue with someone that's going to make you walk out on your country at a World Cup, I personally, I don't know about you, I'd be telling that person to their face. I wouldn't let that person disturb my chances of playing for my country. He must have dreamt of doing that since he was a kid. So whatever happened, it must have been...
Did he?
Well,
I'm not sure. Again,
in that case, retire from international football. He must care. he must care enough to want to play for England, but just not enough to play for England and work with Steve Holland.
Listen,
by the way, if Steve Holland is even responsible, it might be something completely different, and yet Ben White hasn't been prepared to say to anyone, journalists off record, what happened. He's kept his counsel and allowed the reputation of Steve Holland to be tarnished. Now, if Steve Holland's done nothing, that's my view. I think that's wrong. If Steve Holland has done something, then at least tell Steve Holland.
Right, yeah, well, no, I mean, Steve Holland knows whatever happened.
Steve Holland does not. Believe me on this.
Does.
From inside the England camp, at the time, the coaching staff did not know why Ben White decided to leave.
Not having that. Clearly, there must have been an argument. Listen, I feel like I was defending Ben White here, and just before Chelsea scored, and I'm happy to be interrupted in that way. What I was saying was, first and foremost, does he deserve to be in the squad? He's not even in the Arsenal first team. So from a football point of view, from a current form point of view, he doesn't even deserve to be in the squad. He doesn't deserve to be, and certainly doesn't deserve to be in front of Trent.
Can I tell you, even if he did, I would be furious that he got recalled. Even if he did.
Let me go through the points. So you're absolutely right. He's not spoken. So I couldn't agree more. Instead of just whether it's come through him or indirectly, I mean, to get Edu to tell Gareth and Steve Holland that you're not doing it. I mean, absolutely. I think you used the right word there. Be a man. And he hasn't been. Now, I don't know.
I don't mean that, by the way. I know people will scream toxic masculinity and all that stuff. But what I mean is be mature, be an adult, be an adult about the situation.
Looking to be offended. So
but all I'm saying is,
we'll move on.
Let me just say, be an adult about the situation. Let's call it that.
Absolutely. Well,
and he wasn't.
However you phrase it, we know what you mean. And I mean the same thing as well. People say, he may well have walked out on just Gareth and Steve Holland. No, Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland are the England managers and the England coach. You walked out on England. You walked out on your country. You walked out on the public, who would absolutely sell their, give away their mortgages.
Well, most of them do to go and follow England at a World Cup. How many people are spending tens of thousands to go and follow England?
And I think we know enough about Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland to know that actually they're good people. And what they did, what they created in terms of the atmosphere from the toxic one and certainly the disjointed one beforehand, that was their forte. So for him to fall out with that, I was listening to Adrian and Darren Lewis and Danny the other last night. And Adrian was saying he heard it was like they were all given pieces of video footage to look at and watch and then give you assessment on an opposition player. And he didn't do it because they know through the software whether someone's looked at it or not. What's the matter with you? Your England duty. If you're asked to do 100 runs on a football pitch and you don't see the sense of it, you just do it. You just do it. You're playing for England. You're representing your country. So, look, I started off by saying, and I'll finish off by saying, I believe in second chances for people. We don't know whether he's moved on emotionally or as a player, but just from a professional point of view, I don't believe he deserves to be in there. And I think it's only right for him and Thomas Tuchel to be sitting in that first press conference where just ask questions for 20, 30 minutes, and then that's it. We move on. Because until then, we'll never know. And for me, I understand the Arsenal fans, they want to be tribalistic and protect their player, but no one can really defend him walking out on England.
You're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. 18+, gambleaware.org. Up next, we'll look ahead to the World Cup playoffs involving Wales. Ethan Ampadu, we'll hear from him straight after this.
Lads, sit down.
Here we go.
Just listen up, all right? Listen up. We've got 7 games left. Every single game's a cup final. Forget the noise. Forget what's happened. Just go out there, put your heart on your sleeve, and go and make something happen. Forget everything that's happened throughout the season. Forget what's happened, all right, on and off the pitch. Now is the moment. A 7-game season. Every blade of grass, every single pass, every header, every tackle matters. Every piece of running on that pitch will get us across the line. And it only will happen if you all stick together and make it happen. I can't do it. I can't be on the pitch. All I can do is set you up to go out there and make it happen for yourselves. Stick together through thick and thin. We hunt together. We fight together. We press together. We tackle together. We get back together. And we will get this done. And at the end of the season, you can all come and see me and knock on my door. And if you want to leave, you can leave. But right now, we are one. We are the team that is going to stay in this Premier League. Forget West Ham. Forget Nottingham Forest. Forget Leeds. It's about Spurs. And we are Spurs. And to dare is to do. Now come on, let's get 3 points!
Quite good. I've got goosebumps. I've got goosebumps.
This is Kickoff on talkSPORT with Hugh, Woozencroft and Scott Minto, the former Chelsea FA Cup winner. Chelsea in trouble tonight at the Emirates. Ian Abrahams.
Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. Alessio Russo restoring Arsenal's 2-goal lead with some 14 minutes to go. It was a good one touch and then right-footed shot low into the corner net. No chance for Hannah Hampton on this occasion. And once again, Chelsea on the back foot in the pouring rain of North London, just trying to now restrict the deficit ahead of the second leg next week at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. Alessio Russo, the latest Arsenal scorer.
OK, let's take a look at the latest football action now with Ladbrokes.
The big preview on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Now, we heard from the England camp a little bit earlier on, but things are much more important when it comes to Wales. They've got a World Cup qualifier semi-final on Thursday at home to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Win and they'll host either Italy or Northern Ireland, also at home on the following Tuesday. Massive games ahead. Let's hear from their midfielder Ethan Ampadu on the importance of playing in front of their home crowd.
Can drag us over the line. I think that was shown in, as you mentioned, the last playoffs that we got to the World Cup with. We know games going to be difficult. And we know they are the 12th man. They are those 12 men. No matter what happens throughout the game, they're right behind us, and that gives us the confidence to. You don't feel it, but like naturally within inside you might run that a little bit further without even thinking about it, or just because they push you on so well. It's so exciting to play in front of the Red Wall. Like you said, I think a lot of people know that and are aware of that. So for us to have that home advantage is massive, but it's only massive if we use it and take advantage of it.
Nothing like a Welsh home crowd. Always pitch perfect. Let's speak to our very own Wales correspondent, talkSPORT's Lawrence Mora. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Lawrence.
It's just huge. the tension must already be building in Wales amongst the Welsh supporters, that red wall, and the players too. What's the mood been like in camp?
Yeah, it's been really relaxed, really confident, Hugh. The players look in good form. I think Craig Bellamy and the Welsh nation got the prayer beads out at the weekend, hoping that everybody would get through the weekend okay, untouched and fit and healthy, especially when watching Harry Wilson playing for Fulham in particular, and the Leeds boys going head-to-head in that game against Brentford. You know, it was a big one over the weekend to just make sure everybody got through. Everyone has got through. So as far as the squad that was named last week, there are no more injuries, but it does mean that Wales go into this without Ben Davies, Chris Mepham, Kiefer Moore, Connor Roberts, and of course Aaron Ramsey, who hasn't laced his boots in months anyway. So a name we weren't expecting to see.
Are you, when you look at that list of absentees, does it concern you?
I think it does at centre-back, Hugh. I think that's the big problem that Craig Bellamy's got. He's Ben Davies would usually play the left-hand side of the centre. Joe Rodon's had a fantastic season, really stepped up, become the Premier League player we all thought he could at Leeds. So he's had a really good season, but it's who partners him. Dylan Lawler from Cardiff is the obvious. He played 3 times in the autumn, but look, he played against Kazakhstan, Liechtenstein and North Macedonia. So for a young lad who's had an absolutely fantastic start, done really well for Cardiff in League One, a proper breakthrough season, but facing Bosnia and Italy, that is a big difference from facing the type of teams that he faced in the autumn.
And Lawrence, we heard from Ethan Ampadu. Just tell us how much he has grown. I mean, over 50 caps now, isn't it? Which is quite incredible. He's the captain at Leeds, and he's a real leader in that Wales squad, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. At 24 years old, he is one of the mainstays. It feels like he's already been around for a generation. You can't sort of believe that he's 24. And he's always had that old head on young shoulders, if you like. But you can see the way he was sitting in the press conference talking to us the other day, the confidence he now exudes. He was talking about how when he first went to Leeds, part of the reason for him going to Leeds was because he wanted to nail down a one position. He'd been played and moved about while at Chelsea, gone off on loan to Italy, gone off on loan to Germany. But he wanted somewhere to call home, somewhere a manager would believe in him in a certain position. And Daniel Farke has sold him the dream to play him in central midfield and be that central midfielder for Leeds. And he's taken to it. And this season, he's really established himself as a Premier League player, which is fantastic. He talked about his throwing as well. The long throw has become a bit of a thing for Ethan, hasn't it? But he did say he was getting some stick from the other players that it was the shortest long throw going.
And Craig Bellamy doesn't like long throws, does he?
He does not. No. We asked him about it. So I don't think Wales quite have that profile of player without Kiefer Moore in the side to go for the long throws. But no, they have a 3-second rule. Get the ball back in. Bang. Bellamy likes to play at that real high speed, that high tempo. And he was talking about bringing rules in the Premier League because he's worried that it will actually sort of damage the product, if you like, of the Premier League in terms of all these set pieces.
Just on Craig Bellamy and what he's been like tactically in improving the squad so far, do you believe you've got the manager in the dugout with Wales to get you through what could be potentially, incredible games into the World Cup? Might be Northern Ireland, might be Italy, if you can get past Bosnia and Herzegovina. Has he shown that actually he's developing as a coach to get you over the line?
Yeah, it's fascinating. 100% he's developing as a coach really, really well. This is the crunch moment, though, isn't it? This is where we see the real Bellamy. How does he react to it? How does he cope on that touchline when everything is on the line, isn't it? It comes down to these 2 games. So that's going to be fascinating to see how he copes with it. He talks about consistency. He said that, when the going gets tough, when you're in that heat of battle, actually, you need to be even more consistent than you are. He's definitely a much calmer character. I'm sure Scott may have come across him on a pitch and not quite the calm Craig Bellamy we see these days in press conferences, but he is who he is. He has definitely changed and developed as a human, as we all do as we get a little bit older. But it'd be really interesting to see him and Gattuso on the touchline on next week. Who doesn't want to see that?
Yeah, look, he's really developed, hasn't he, as a coach, and I think he's learned a lot with Vincent Kompany as well. But I mean, you say, look, the atmosphere is sort of pretty calm at the moment. Tell us what it's like around the country, because these are potentially, well, they are they're two massive, massive games, and no one wants a friendly on Tuesday, do they? They want it to be the final and hopefully going through from your points of view. So, just how big will it be for the crowd, the atmosphere, and yeah, it's going to be a really fascinating game, and hopefully 2 games.
Yeah, look, I mean, look, Hugh was there in Qatar in 22, right? And we saw that at first hand, Hugh, that how proud the nation was to be on that world stage, on how proud they were to be there. But listen, it didn't go our way. I think that's fair to say. And certainly talk to some of the players privately. They feel they've got unfinished business with the World Cup, because they don't want their one appearance to be that, and they would like to change it. And fan wise, the buzz is there. Both the games are already sold out, so the final or the friendly will be a sellout. And then bigger than that, really, for the FAW in terms of an association. Look, it's a small association. It doesn't have the resources that England have. The prize money for getting to the final, everything that goes with it, it is absolutely huge for Welsh football overall to get to this, beyond what happens on the pitch.
Yeah. Honestly, one of the privileges of my career covering Wales with talkSPORT at the Euros, which was we were in Azerbaijan. I mean, it was COVID times and stuff like that. The fans that went there, incredible. Then at the World Cup, subsequently find myself as a Wales fan watching Welsh language games on S4C. I messaged some mates today, Brazil-France, playing on Thursday night. Just told them it's live on ITV, lads, if you want to watch it. They were like, great. I thought I was going to have to watch a playoff. I said, well, to be honest, I'll be watching Wales-Bosnia. I mean, I'm a Wales fan now, desperate for them to get to the tournament. So fingers crossed. Lawrence Mora, thank you very much.
Thanks,
indeed. That was all thanks to Ladbrokes. It's 18+, gambleaware.org.
The big preview on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Get a free bet every week of the season and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. Minimum £5 bet. Conditions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Coming up, Liam Rossini has been given the vote of confidence at Chelsea, but is it the dreaded vote of confidence? That's next.
When you take a step back and you look, what are you seeing at Chelsea?
Well, I think it's completely different to what was Chelsea a few years back. I think a few years back, even the coach knew if you don't win the league or if you don't win a big trophy, you're out.
Simple as.
Abramovich, simple. I mean, Mourinho won it a couple. The year they didn't win it, man, Ancelotti, similar. Conte, similar. Mourinho go back, similar. It was quite clear. Now it's a little bit different because the top is doing different things, in a different way. What I don't like, coach point of view, is when there is too many rumors about the coach. For example, Maresca, no? It was that big rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, about the change in the place at a certain time that he's been told.
Because he was the one that was leaking it to his mates in the press.
Okay. Now, what that helped to the new coach? And I'd say to you, Dom, you make a change after 60 minutes and people is going to say that you change it because you've been told to change it. You don't have a chance to win it. You are not making the decision because it's been out already. So for Liam, it's been a situation which is impossible to win. Whatever he does, is going to be people talking because of the rumors of Maresca. So you are already in the beginning in a position which is difficult. And then, the ones that we like to speak, because Liam likes to speak a lot, then people start taking everything you say against you, especially if you don't win. If it was analyze it to the last bit.
Would you like to win £20,000 completely tax-free? Good answer, Scott. talkSPORT are giving you the chance to do it. Scott, I don't think you can actually enter, unfortunately, but don't miss your chance to win this life-changing amount of money. Listen up for how to enter. You can text WIN to 83338. WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate. You can call 0343 418 7260 to enter as well. Lines close on the 9th of April at 4 p.m. That's when you're going to need to answer your phone if it rings. It's 18 plus, UK residents only. It's a network promotion. You can get full terms and conditions at talksport.com. And a reminder, text WIN to 83333 now. Right, we'll head to the Emirates very, very shortly. The full-time whistle's going to go in a couple of minutes, but we need to talk about Chelsea and Liam Rosenior, because talkSPORT understands that Liam Rosenior will stay in charge even if Chelsea miss out on the Champions League at the end of this season, which is massive. I think that's a massive statement for a club like Chelsea, because Chelsea has been a club that's moved on from managers fairly quickly. And surely the bare minimum at a club like Chelsea is to reach the Champions League, especially given all the money that they've spent. But we understand they would like to give Liam Rosenior at least one full year in charge. Is that fair, at least?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. You know, I've been saying for a good few years now, you know, the owners, incredibly intelligent businessmen. You can see the way they've managed to, you know, manipulate the rules by getting, you know, really good players on 7-8 year contracts, and getting round the sort of PSR reasons in that sense. Obviously, we know what's happened recently with the Roman Abramovich era. But I've been saying for a long time, the Roman Abramovich, you know, even before those years you can throw at them about they, you know, paid whoever behind the scenes, he got in ready-made, world-class, senior pros, leaders, and he did the same with the manager as well. And if they didn't get anywhere near where he wanted, then the manager went and they got someone else in. The owners here have gone down the complete opposite end of the spectrum in terms of model. Chelsea have the youngest average starting 11 in the Premier League. They did last season as well. And you're expected to win the Premier League? Liam knows there's pressure on him for sure. And I do feel for him because, you know, there's been a couple of things where you can turn around and say, well, okay, maybe perhaps he couldn't have said that or shouldn't have said that. There's other times I thought he's answered questions very well indeed. He talked about the individual errors after the Everton game. And let's not forget, if you think back, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, that Aston Villa game where they were absolutely superb, really superb, and got a fantastic win at Villa Park. You know, sneaked past Wrexham in the FA Cup, but going into those PSG games, they were in a good place. For 70 minutes, they were in a very, very good place. So what happens? Your keeper makes a mistake. But then keep it to 3-2. Don't make it 5-2. So it's 5-2 going into the second leg. Newcastle was a very poor performance generally. I think they were flat physically and mentally off the back of that game, and also thinking ahead to the PSG game. No excuse. And a really poor goal to concede. Again, another individual error. The two centre-halves, too wide apart. Where's Fofana? Anthony Gordon's ran 20 yards off him before he's realised where he needs to be. Individual mistake. What happens? The start of Stamford Bridge. Okay, you're 3 goals down against the current champions and one of the best teams in the world. You make an individual mistake after 6 minutes. Hugh, I can't begin to explain what it's like when you need to be absolutely bang on it. And if you're not, and there's individual mistakes, they were 4 goals down in the tie against PSG, and then they're expecting to somehow come back from that. The Everton game, I can go through each game, and you know, Rob Sanchez made a mistake for one of the goals, whereas Fofana again was at fault for a lot of the goals. These are a lot of players who are making individual mistakes, and managers. There's some things that managers just cannot control, and I think people have been wanting to have a go at Liam from the moment he came in. I understand that perhaps his CV doesn't justify being a Chelsea manager, but they have gone down a different route. And you talk about Pochettino. What's the one word you'd say about Pochettino as a person? I'd probably use the word charming. He kind of gets on with everybody, doesn't he? Enzo Maresca should have been pinching himself, thinking, what a great job I've got. And by the way, I thought he did a great job as well. He's walked out. I think they're so frustrated that they know they're not a million miles away. I hear people saying, oh, they're a million miles away, Chelsea. I don't think they are. I think they've got some really talented players, but they haven't got enough senior pros. They haven't got enough leaders to be able to game manage on the pitch and also lead by example off it.
I think it would be a tacit admission from the ownership group at Chelsea that actually the mistakes and what's going wrong is more about them than it is about the manager. If they don't reach the Champions League and Liam Rosenior stays as their head coach.
They can't keep on sacking managers because they just...
I don't think he'll be the manager next season, though. I think this is nonsense.
At the start of next season?
At the start of next season, Liam Rosenior won't be the Chelsea boss if they miss out on the Champions League. He's got a chance if they make it to the Champions League.
I think
of course he does. But there's no way. I don't think Chelsea fans will be able to sit and watch the managerial merry-go-round that's going to happen this summer and the quality of coaches that are going to possibly be available and move around. We heard about the possibility of even Luis Enrique, one of the best in the world. But even from the Premier League...
Hugh, they interviewed
even
Luis Enrique.
From the Premier League this summer, who might be on the move, I don't think Chelsea fans could stomach watching a dozen great coaches be appointed elsewhere and their club go, we're going to stick by Liam Rosenior, and then possibly 3 months into the season try and go out into the market and find a new manager if it doesn't start well next year. I just can't see it happen.
The owners interviewed Luis Enrique. They said they didn't want him. It was Luis Enrique walking away saying, I can't manage under this. Nagelsmann had a conversation as well. I'm sorry, but under the model, again, I'll say it again, they're very incredibly clever businessmen, multi-billionaires. And the way they've got around, the sort of PSR, incredibly intelligent guys. But if they keep on going down the route of the average youngest starting 11 in the Premier League is Chelsea and expecting... And actually, Liam almost is the one in the fire. And that's the problem.
Sorry to end you there. We just got to get... Yeah, and I appreciate your views, Scott.
I could talk for hours.
The full-time whistle at the Emirates Stadium. Ian Abrahams.
Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. So Arsenal take a 2-goal lead into the second leg at Stamford Bridge next Wednesday. 2 up at half-time, courtesy of a Blackstenius header and a shot from 25 yards from Chloe Kelly that really Hannah Hampton should have done a bit better with. In the second half, an absolutely stupendous goal from Lauren James from 30 yards out. A lob over the goalkeeper made it 2-1, but that only lasted 10 minutes as Arsenal restore their 2-goal advantage through Alessia Russo. Chelsea will point to a first-half goal from Berman that really shouldn't have been disallowed. Not sure why it was. She headed home for close range. Apparently a foul on a fellow defender. And right at the end, Buchanan decided to put the ball and the Arsenal goalkeeper in the back of the net. Funnily enough, that was disallowed as well. Chelsea will look back on missed chances, but the holders have more than 1 foot in the semi-final, you feel. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1.
Reshmin Chowdhury is going to be here for a unique kickoff tomorrow night, discussing the potential cost of relegation for Spurs. But up next, it's the Sports Bar. 03717 223344. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy are next.